Hello and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. We are on episode 94 and it is Tuesday, October 17, 2017. I am your host, Victor Omoyo, and with me as always is my co-host and social media chair, Carl Bird.
Hey, what's good, y'all?
Yes, and joining us in the studio for the first time in 2 years, we have a returning guest, a friend of the show, Angela Marandola.
Hey, y'all.
Was it really 2 years?
It's been 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
I was thinking on the drive here, the last time I was on the podcast, you were not.
Yeah,
staying.
was it?
You were just
yeah,
like
I
a
wasn't
glimmer,
on.
you were a glimmer in our eye. So I don't think Carl and I have ever like sat down and had a conversation face to face.
Yeah, I
while
always
being
pissed you.
recorded.
Yeah, I always pissed you off on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're like old enemies, but old friends too. So.
Great friends.
Yeah, great friends.
Yay, frenemies. So yes, the road to episode 100 continues, and Angela, the last time we had you here was episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first rule of book club is we talked about our favorite books. And yeah.
It was a good episode. Controversial. I don't know if we had a lot of people who were reading at that time. Hopefully more people have picked up books since then.
Yes.
I think it was
I did.
It was a very intense and I don't know, the detailed episode.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot has changed since then.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's been good. I've missed being on the show. I loved it so much. I'm excited to be here on the road to 100. I can't even believe it's been that many episodes though. Like it seems like 2 years ago I was here as episode 7 and now you guys are, I don't know, you're making it big. You guys are big shots now.
I don't say we big shots,
I
but
think you're big shots.
we're working on it.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
yeah,
Well, I'm
indeed.
impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. So today we're going to be talking about some geek news, some headlines, as well as some notable horror movies, being the month of October.
Yes.
Yep. So all horror galore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before we get into the proceedings, Mr. Bird, what have you been up to this past week?
Okay, well, nothing. I caught only the first episode of the new show, The Gifted.
Okay.
The new X-Men show. It's actually not bad. It's on FX, so it can actually be pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it starts off where these kids, they find out that they have mutant powers. Well, the older sister already knew, so she already knew how to handle it, but the little brother was bullied, and then that's when, I don't know if you guys saw the commercial where the little kid's screaming in the showers after being bullied, and he's bending... he's bending the pipes and all that. Yeah. That happens. That's when he discovered that he has his powers, and then their father just happened to work for I forget the name of it, but it's basically like the FBI for mutants.
Okay.
So they was tracking him down, but that once he realizes, oh my god, my kids have powers. My kids are mutants now. I gotta try to save my kids. So then he tries to seek refuge from another group of mutants. This happens long after the X-Men crazy timeline, because they're saying that the Brotherhood and the X-Men just doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So so he has to try to seek refuge from them to try to save his family. There's already been about 3 or 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
So eventually I'll get back into it.
Okay.
I plan on it.
All right.
So then also on Sunday, I had to help my father move a whole bunch of junk because he's pretty much of a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a PS2.
Okay.
So I actually stole a couple of old school gems. Onimusha.
That's a good one.
This was actually my first PS2 game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tekken Tag. As y'all know, I'm a Tekken head. NBA Street, probably one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Street Volume 2 with Just Blaze. And then, of course, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth.
Oh, so good. So have you played any yet?
No, I haven't. I gotta find controllers and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so he didn't have controllers. He just
No,
had the system.
he just had the system, and that's it in the games.
Oh, not
So
bad.
I gotta go to
Almost there.
Toy Vault or something. I know they got it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then, actually, we'll get into this. That's pretty much me. We'll get into the next thing after what you've been up to.
Yeah. Before I was gonna say real quick, the Onimusha series, Part 3 is the best game in the series. I actually played and finished all 3 games in.
That's the part 1 was the only one I played.
Yeah, but Part 3 is actually it also co-stars John Reno, who was in The Professional, Leon.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can actually play as him too. So it's like a time traveling story.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's a really
They
good
need to
game.
re-release that.
Yeah, they should remaster the whole thing. As for me, I've been catching up with some movies, and yes, I went to my local library. Have you gotten a library card, Carl?
They still exist?
Jesus Christ!
No, I know libraries still exist. I can't even remember the last time I've been to a library.
See, this is a goddamn shame right here, man.
What?
I
You
mean,
got Amazon now.
But you
talk to him,
before
Angela.
we start, you just said you hated Amazon.
I never said I hated Amazon. I just said I still like to go to the store.
So the library is kind of like that. Like you just go to the library and you can like check things out for free, and it's a lot available to you.
No, I know that. I just haven't gone
You'd
to the
prefer
library.
Amazon to the library.
I just haven't gone to the library. Sorry.
Support your local libraries, people. But yeah, and
This is why we were frenemies.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. As for me, yes, I went to the library and I watched an underrated Western horror film just yesterday. I just returned it. It stars Kurt Russell and it's called Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, well, I just watched that. Well, not recently, but I want to say like a year ago we watched that. What did you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't rent it from the library. I think I watched it on streaming, but I don't know. You can't really go wrong with Kurt Russell, but I thought that was really good. Like, way better than I expected.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of it before. I just kind of like happened upon it. I don't know. Were you seeking it out or?
I was because I heard a bit about it because I was looking up like horror films, like new notable horror films, and that one came up. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'll check it out.
Yeah, not bad. That's
Yeah.
a good find, especially for the library.
John Aponix co-signing with you guys, by the way.
Oh, thank you, John. Yeah, that movie was a real treat, and it's like a slow burn, but like
Yes, that's
yeah, but
that's a perfect way to phrase it.
yeah, but but when it gets to its third and final act, holy shit! Like it goes down. Like the whole film. It's Kurt Russell. He plays this old sheriff who he's in a small town called Bright Hope, and he has to go rescue the wife of this guy who's been abducted. Him and his other deputy. So it's Kurt Russell and his other deputy, played by Richard Jenkins, who's kind of like this older gentleman who's kind of a bit of an airhead, but you know he means well. And Patrick Wilson, who's the husband of the woman who's kidnapped, who's a physician, and he's dealing with a bum leg. And Matthew Fox is in it too. He plays like this slick talking, well dressed scoundrel, and slash gunslinger. And so they're traveling from their town to all across the plains to track down the woman. And it turns out that the kidnappers happen to be this savage tribe of cannibals, and it goes down. You see some shit. Woo!
It's like you said, it comes out of nowhere because
It
it's a
does.
slow burn. You're like, what the? All right, this is good, and then shit
Yeah.
hits the fan. It gets real, Carl.
It
Gotta see it.
It does. Like, oh man, it will haunt me forever. The visuals that I've seen, but I absolutely recommend this film because the film is well directed and it has some great dialogue too. Like,
Oh, for sure.
like the banter between all the characters, some great turns of phrases here and there. I really liked it. It was on Netflix for a while, but for some reason they took it down. But I highly
Make room
recommend.
for other content. That's usually why they do that.
Yeah, but I think they should have left it on there. So Bone Tomahawk, that's one I absolutely recommend.
I co-sign.
Yep, if you have the stomach for it.
Yeah, Congo just recommended Big Mouth on Netflix.
Big Mouth. Let me write that down. Big Mouth.
I don't think I've seen it.
Is that like a horror
Heard of
film?
it.
No, it's definitely not a horror film.
All right. Well, I will do more research on that. So I watched that, and I've also been on a John Carpenter kick. So I actually went to Best Buy.
Nice.
And I picked up 3 Blu-ray steelbook editions of his.
Of course, there you go. The
of his
fanciest of packaging.
Yep.
Oh,
So I picked up these 3 here. I picked up Escape from New York with Kurt Russell.
of course. Oh,
which-
that's pretty.
This is a great film. Guys can take a look at that.
Thank you.
The Fog, which is his 1980 horror classic, and of course, They Live with Roddy Piper and Keith David. This is the shit. I love this
Why
film.
does that sound familiar? I was really drawing a blank. I'm like, why does They Live sound familiar? Why does it?
Yeah, those.
Gas and bubblegum.
You've seen They Live, right?
When I was a kid.
Oh man, it's
I
still.
think I watched a lot of movies as a kid.
Yeah,
Him and my cousin, him
this
and
is
my
super
cousin
old,
Kenny, they watched a
1988.
lot of movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it still holds up. They Live or Roddy Piper and Keith David, especially.
Really?
Oh yeah, it still holds up. Like the whole movie. For those who don't know, it's about Roddy Piper who stumbles upon this this pair of sunglasses. He puts them on and he realizes that many politicians are actually aliens, and they're convincing people to obey and consume mindlessly, be sheep. And it's still a great film. And what I really liked about it is that the centerpiece of They Live is that 5.5 minute street fight between Roddy Piper and Keith David. It just goes on and on. and I was watching. I was like, God damn, when's it gonna end? But it was so great and hilarious. South Park even spoofed it. They Live. Recommend that. Escape from New York is a great one.
That's classic.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the sequel, Escape from L.A., but I heard that was kind of
Goofy?
kind of goofy,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of.
super goofy. Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think it is. It's not, I recommend it. I like both. But they're different. One is different from the other.
Yeah,
And I want to say Escape from LA is just, I bet you that you have seen, like, memes or heard things or seen things that you don't realize is from that movie, but it is from that movie.
like from Escape. From New
Yeah,
York?
from LA. I like. There are certain things and scenes and characters in that particular film that are pretty iconic. That I'd be surprised if you, while watching it, you weren't like, "Oh yeah,
Okay.
I know that guy, or I've heard of this guy or that guy." I think you'll like it, but it's different. Don't go in with super high expectations for like Criterion Collection type of drama, but it's fun. I like it. I think Carl would like it too.
Okay.
Give it a whirl. You don't need to see the first one.
Yeah.
Escape from LA?
No.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can see them. Well, you can watch them independently.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but New York, from what I hear, is like the superior film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're talking film, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I watched that and it's awesome, and the plot is so ridiculous. It's like a video game plot, basically, where New York is basically converted into a maximum security prison, and it's surrounded by a wall, and Kurt Russell is Snake Plissken, and he has to rescue the president. It's a B movie plot, but it's so enjoyable. It's so much fun, and The Fog is a really cool horror film. Which about this. About these ghosts these murderous ghosts that are basically haunting this sleepy California town. So been watching these, and of course I also watched recently Big Trouble in Little China, which I actually watched for the first time, and I really love that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So
You're becoming Kurt Russell's biggest fan.
I am apparently. Yeah.
I think so. It sounds like you are.
You did like Guardians of the Galaxy too, right?
Well, no. Oh yeah, I totally love that movie so much I gave it a bad review. but yeah, it's pretty much what I've been up to. Been on a John Carpenter kick. We'll mention him a bit more when we talk about the news headlines. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much me. So
there is one thing that we both checked out.
Oh yeah, what's
the
up?
Def Comedy Jam 25
on
Netflix.
Yes.
Man, that was hilarious. I enjoyed it all.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we'll get to the centerpiece of that in just a moment. When I was watching Def Comedy Jam 25, I thought it was going to be like a series of like extended like stand-ups from the artists that were on there, but it was more like kind of came off as like a self-congratulatory type event where we had like the past comedians who were on the show come out, and they gave big ups and praise to like their their influences and whatnot, people who helped them on the show, and they just walked off stage, and that was it.
No,
And I was like,
I mean, they did little comedy bits and stuff, but it was basically telling this. Their comedy bits were telling the story of Def Comedy Jam, and Def Comedy Jam was like that was the shit growing up.
yeah,
Like I didn't have cable, so like I would hang out at like my cousin Bonnie's house and stuff, and they had it on, and we would hope and pray to God that we would stay there, like because it came on like late night on Fridays, and we would just hope and pray that they would stay on, just so like we would be able to watch it, not really understanding the jokes, but it was just hilarious. You know what I mean? And then it was just so crazy that like so many heavy hitters came from that show. Martin Lawrence was the host.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac. You know his famous "I ain't scared of you, motherfuckers." I mean, like Adele Givens, like so whoever you name it, they were on that show.
You know, I didn't know that Tiffany Haddish got her start on.
Yeah,
the
on the
Yeah,
second.
I
Yeah,
didn't
on the
know
second
that.
run.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Hart too as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like
Dave Chappelle too.
Chappelle.
Oh, he was there, and oh my.
Oh yeah, the centerpiece of Def Comedy Jam 25 was like a sketch between D.L. Hughley.
That was improv.
And it was improv because the whole thing was like D.L. Hughley and Dave Chappelle. They were reading off the teleprompter, and apparently Dave Chappelle goofed one of his lines. And then the music played really quickly, and it was like, and he was like, "Stop, hold up, let me do it over." But then the whole sketch, the whole bit was that Dave Chappelle was doing his best to avoid reading the teleprompter, so it just kept going and going.
Oh my God, he was saying like both of them, they just went off and just started saying the most outlandish things ever, and like some I can't really like say, especially what he said to Joe.
Oh yeah, R&B singer Joe. Oh man, he has such a good line. I wish I could say it here, but you'd have to see it. There were like. Oh, they even got the producer rather over the loudspeaker to count down. It's like, hey, can you count us down again so we can read this line? And they were just, and the producer was messing with him. It was like, okay, 5, 3,
Like,
7, 7, and then it was like, all right, and then B.L. Hughley was like, oh, just count me down from 1, motherfucker. Just say that. And then the producer was like, 1, motherfucker.
Yeah, everybody in the room was laughing, and so many like celebrities were there too. It's just like I thought it was great.
When was that filmed?
It was filmed a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like earlier this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you sure you don't want me to say the line?
No, they want you to say it. They want you to say it. I'm just doing this out of courtesy because we have a woman present.
Well, I mean, the joke is a little crass. I mean.
You can say it. I want to hear it now.
Okay, cool.
Joe, he said, Joe, here, grab the mic and say. You can say something that doesn't have to do with getting pussy.
No, like the whole bit was like they were trying to sing the Black national anthem, lift every voice and sing, and they were just bungling the lines. So in the middle of singing, D.L. Hughley tosses the microphone to R&B singer Joe. And then Joe, he wasn't going to sing it. He just tossed the mic back. And then Dave Chappelle's like, Joe, can't you sing about something that's not about pussy for once?
That was the line.
Yeah, I was dying when he said that.
Oh man, I was in tears. Like I was drinking a beer, almost spit it out. And I mean, it was oh man.
Yeah.
I had to watch it twice this weekend.
Oh, you saw it twice?
Yeah, I watched it Friday, and then my roommate I was telling him like, yo, you gotta watch it. He eventually watched it, and I was like, you know what? I just had to sit down and watch it with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'll say like, the D.L. Hughley Chappelle segment was worth the price.
The highlight.
Yeah,
it was definitely not. It's worth watching.
And what did Kevin Hart do on that? He just did his.
He wasn't there, but he was talking about how much Def Comedy Jam meant to him. You know, because I was like where he got his start, and he was talking about his memories and stuff. And then during the credits, he did a little skit where he was talking about how old Russell Simmons and Stan Lathan were, so he was making like old jokes on them because Russell's got to be about 60, I think.
Just about, maybe in his late 50s.
Yeah. He's up there.
Yeah.
He looks younger than all of us.
Yeah, the yoga works wonders for him.
and he's a vegan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll do it too.
Yeah. So yeah, Def Comedy Jam 25.
I have to check that out.
Yep.
Please do.
Yeah, have you seen any of the old Def Comedy Jam?
Oh yeah,
episodes?
of course. I just totally missed the boat on this one. Has it been on it's on Netflix? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the special. I wish they had like all the old episodes.
Yeah,
I think it's on like that Laugh Out Loud app.
Okay.
I come across it on my Facebook timeline.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's so much of that content that I wish was just like readily available to watch, especially like all like comedy from 80s, early 90s. Just couldn't. I don't know. Always puts me in a good mood.
Oh yeah.
Having it just like put it on, right? Like it just reminds you of
Yes, well.
the good times. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching this. I didn't even know, but now I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how about you? How's things on your end? What have you been up to?
Things are good. On Sunday, I decided to watch a couple of horror movies, get myself in the spirit. I had gotten a really good run back in September where I was like kind of running trains on horror movies from Netflix and Amazon. Amazon has a good selection. Carl would probably hate it because he hates Amazon, but
I do not hate Amazon. I used Amazon.
hates
I
it.
had to use Amazon like a month
it makes
ago.
everything accessible. He hates it. But a really good run, but it ended on Sunday. I watched Cult of Chucky. Have you any interest in
Call of Chucky.
I came across it, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
I haven't
came across
watched
it
a
too, and then
Chucky
clicked on-
movie in so long.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's 500 of them now, but I had to give this one a whirl because I haven't seen. Well, I saw kind of like 1, 2, and 3, the OG. Love those. We'll talk about it. And then after that, there was like the weird like goofy Chucky movies because it was like Child's Play, and then that was like legit, and then like the Chucky movies, which are kind of a different animal.
Yeah.
Like Bride of Chucky and like Seed of Chucky, I think was one. I think I
Yep.
got through
Yeah.
half of that. And then there was like that other, I don't know if it was like, I forget what it was called, but it was like the standalone Chucky movie that wasn't like related to the originals in any way or the weird offshoots. It was like this I don't know. But that was critically acclaimed, I guess. I saw that. I watched like 40 minutes of it. I don't know why I decided to watch Cult of Chucky like in its entirety, but I did. My boyfriend has never seen any Child's Play movie, which is sad that this was the first one that he saw. Not to say that it was terrible. Like you have to go into it with a certain mindset. Like it's not necessarily going to be all that scary or brilliant, but it was fun and kind of entertaining. And I had watched it, but I think like another podcast that I listened to kind of hyped it up as being like pretty interesting and entertaining to watch. And it has some of the original actors from the original films. So I don't know if I would say to definitely watch it. I think if you're a fan of the movies, it's worth it just to, I don't know,
I got a little cousin who loves Chucky.
knock it out. Well, I used to
He's 6.
I was
Loved him when he was 3.
You know what's crazy is I never really like understood how inappropriate certain movies were when I was a kid, like that I was watching them until I had nieces and nephews. Because I'll like look at my niece and nephews. I'm like, oh, you're like 3, 4, 2. And I remember being their age and watching Child's Play. Like I have a very vivid memory of the first time I ever saw Child's Play 3, and I must have been so young because I was watching it with my mom, who never cared what we watched. Like she never
that's
dictated.
awesome.
Yeah, she was just kind of like whatever. Like not to stab people or do anything crazy.
My mom was kind of like that.
Like very just loose. And I remember we were watching it on TV, and we had to go to church, so she like got a tape and like recorded the rest of Child's Play 3 for us to watch when we got back from church. But like if I was living at home and watching Child's Play with my mom and going to church, I was young. Like I was really, really young. Probably, I don't know, like 5 or 6. So it's just kind of, so it makes sense that your nephew, is it your
Little
cousin?
yeah.
Your cousin would be into it because
He just he loves horror. He's 3 years old, and one of his favorite movies is The Conjuring.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it like resonates with kids for some reason. I mean, it resonated with me.
Yeah, like he gets scared. Like he'll watch it. He'll get scared that one time, and then he'll want to watch it over and over again.
Yeah,
Like
it's
we
so
used
fun.
this is probably bad. This is probably bad. I'm not saying nobody's name so nobody can report us. But as like a disciplinary tactic, we bought the Eric Rowan mask.
Oh no!
Actually, I bought it
Nice.
to like scare. It scared them one time. It scared them like the first few times. I mean, they were in tears.
That's amazing.
Oh, after that, and his sister, he's a twin. His sister's scared of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he would just go up to her. You got the whole.
Oh my God.
And yeah, he got used to it. He liked it.
Yeah. It's so fun. I just loved being scared when I was a kid. But the thing is, like, I would get really scared. Like, I wasn't just like fun. Like, you watch the movie and then it's done. And you don't think about it. Like, I still have a pretty real fear of dolls.
Oh, really?
Actually, a phobia. That's actually like a
pretty common phobia, right? So, I mean, for me, it's not. Wouldn't say it's like a phobia where like I can see a doll and be okay. I'm not gonna like lose my shit, but I just don't like them. And it was just I don't know. My mom is like some kind of I don't know. She's an interesting personality because she knew that I was really scared of dolls and then bought me that you know those dolls that were like not like Chucky but very like my kid sister or like my little brother.
like Raggedy Ann and stuff.
My Little Buddy?
Yes,
Yeah.
like My Little Buddy. Yes, yes. So the girl version of that. So I think it was my kid sister or something like that. And she bought that for me. And it like creeped the hell out of me. And I was like, I can't do it. And I would put it in the closet and then be so afraid that I'd wake up and the closet would open. But continued to watch those movies because I liked being scared and remain scared from those movies. But so I watched that. And I also watched that movie, The Boy. Have you seen that, Vic?
I have not.
Yeah, I don't know. So Maggie from Walking Dead, I forget the actress's name. She's in that.
Lauren Graham, I want to say?
No, yeah,
Is-
Lauren.
I don't know.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah, yep.
She's in it. She's the main. And so, like, the whole story is she goes to this, like, an older couple's home to kind of nanny for them. And their child...
Lauren Cohen,
okay.
So, yes, Lauren. She is in the film. And so she goes to this house. It's like a castle. These people are well off. They have this child, or had this child. She doesn't realize until she gets there that the child is dead and that what they've been taking care of is just like a porcelain doll named Brahms, which is just like so fucking funny to me that his name is Brahms. And I thought for a really long time that that's what the movie was called when I was like searching for it. I'm like, why is Brahms not coming up? But it's The Boy, if you're interested. And she goes and has to take care of this doll because that's the rules. And the parents don't... like it's never mentioned that he's a doll, but there's like a kind of like a groundskeeper that she interacts with, and they kind of have like a conversation about this doll and why they take care of it all and what happened to their son to kind of force this type of odd situation. I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to see it because it does have like a surprise ending. It wasn't bad. I mean, I don't really have super high expectations when it comes to horror movies. I mean, like I like them.
But it's like it feels like you've seen them all.
It's like sometimes. So when I see one that's really, really good, I'm like, that is the best. Like that's why I love horror movies because like sometimes you can see shit and it's like, wow, that's like fucking awesome. Like let the right one in. Like that's like amazing. Like oh my god, like why haven't I seen this a million times? Like it's just so good. And then you see kind of like your run-of-the-mill quintessential Cult of Chucky, which is like goofy. And I really like B-horror. Like that's kind of my wheelhouse for a lot of horror. I think a lot of movies that come out now are not intentionally B-horror movies, but kind of end up being so. I think Cult of Chucky is supposed to kind of be in that vein. But yeah, watch The Boy. I watched those back to back, looking for something kind of scary. It wasn't good, not great. Entertaining.
Okay.
It didn't feel like a complete waste of time. It wasn't something amazing. It wasn't like seeing and looking at all of these movies here. It wasn't like, it wasn't like seeing the others for the first time, which is like my favorite. Probably in my top 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, we will definitely get into that more.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right. So The Boy, I will...
The Boy, yeah. If you want to, it's not a complete waste of time. Is my review
All right.
for that.
All right. I'll see it if I'm like exceptionally bored, I suppose.
Yeah.
Nice.
Put that on your long list of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always ever growing.
Oh yeah. Yep. Plus,
He's not even halfway yet, and he keeps adding on.
I know, right?
I mean, yeah, and plus, like, plus by the end of the year, I'll have my list of favorite films, like I always do.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. getting into the news and headlines this week. The first of which I know you have some words on. I'm sure, Angela. Apparently, Neville has reportedly quit the WWE. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported last week that Neville walked out of last Monday night's Raw show in Indianapolis, Indiana, upon learning that he was booked to lose to WWE Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore in a non-title lumberjack match. This led to Vince McMahon changing plans to Kalisto winning the title from Amore instead. However, Pro Wrestling Insider reported that Neville was never backstage at last week's Raw show, but plans changed when it became clear that he would not show up. One reason why Neville walked out is because of his match with Austin Aries being left off of the WrestleMania 33 Blu-ray and DVD, which means that he would receive no royalties whatsoever from the event. WWE is denying reports that Neville quit, although he is still under contract. As of now, his status is currently up in the air. And lastly, Pro Wrestling Insider also reports that the plan for Enzo Amore right now is for him to win back the Cruiserweight Championship at the October 22nd TLC pay-per-view.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so Neville allegedly quitting. I gotta say, first off, it sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
But
It really sucks.
yeah, but what can I say? I don't blame him.
No
I
way.
don't blame him.
And I was thinking, like, a year ago when he was like putting a bunch of cruiserweights over, and he's being
because he beat them all.
but was wrestling them. Like, I feel like it wasn't like he was just wrestling like the top guys. Like, he was wrestling like just kind of like randos, like people you'd see in a dark match. And I kind of respected that. Like, I was appreciative of him doing the damn thing and really just like not saying no to anything, not really having that like ego, not being stuck up about it. And he could be, because he's so goddamn good. He's so athletic. He knows the business. He's been in the business. He really, I don't know. I feel like in NXT, he was one of their top guys and then came on the main roster. And they just had no fucking clue what to do with him.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because he is so good. And I mean, his character's whole persona, I mean, I feel like I don't know, I feel like fans liked it. I don't think anyone was bored with him.
I wasn't bored with it, but I did want to. But I felt like his title run was just a little too long for me.
Yeah,
I did want. There's like other cruiserweight. Like, I love the cruiserweight division.
Oh, it's the best. Like, so underutilized.
But I do want to see other people with the belt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And I mean, I feel like him being left off of pay-per-views was so ridiculous to me. Like, they're trying to, I know they gave him their own show, but like, you're gonna leave the guy off of pay-per-view or put him in the pre-show? Like, that was this past WrestleMania, right, where they were in the pre-show. I remember like driving to my friend's house to watch it. And I get there, and I'm like, where's the Neville show? Like, it already happened. Like, Neville, he's gone. Like, it was in an instant. And that sucks, because really wanted to see him wrestle. Like, I really think that he deserved to be part of the main show. And I forget, like, there was another match. WrestleMania I thought was okay, but like there was another match I thought could have definitely been in the
probably
pre-show.
him with Akira Tozawa.
I mean,
because I remember that match being pushed to the pre-show. I just don't remember exactly which pay-per-view, but
It might have been SummerSlam.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. I don't know. But the reason, like, I think that I literally had a nightmare about Enzo Amore the other night. Like, I'm not even joking. I woke up, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just had like a 12-minute long nightmare about Enzo. Because I think he's just so, and this is my opinion. Now, I'm not going to like say that I always hated Enzo Amore, because I didn't. I really liked his whole gimmick and shtick, especially with Big Cass in the beginning. I thought it was funny. Not going to say I wasn't amused, because I was. I thought it was good when they broke up. I thought Enzo, like, that whole segment was really well done, I thought. But, like, the guy can't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle. He just talks.
Wild Man Congo literally just said that about a couple of minutes ago.
He doesn't wrestle?
No, he should never wrestle.
He should never wrestle, which I thought was funny, because he was on Mick Foley's show on the network, like, talking to his daughter about, like, wrestling. And I was like, you are not the dude to be talking to anyone about wrestling, because you don't wrestle. Like, you run your mouth. And it's fine. And there are a lot of people that can get away with that. But, like, the shtick is, like, too much now. Like, it's not so good that it makes up for the fact that he cannot wrestle at all, or that he even like deserves a title run or any type of belt, because I don't think that he does, and I don't know. I feel like
Kaz never won the tag titles.
No.
no, they sucked and they lost all the time, and it was just kind of like their gimmick is what made them so popular and like kept them going. But like Vince loves that shit. And that's why like Neville like quits, you know, because he doesn't get his due. And this thing about the royalties is insane. But that sounds right. Like they'd leave him off and wouldn't have to pay him. But then Enzo Amore, like, I don't know. No words, many words, but none really.
Yeah,
do it justice.
I mean, he'll do just fine. Jericho was in a interview recently. He was saying like he'll do just fine. Like look at Cody Rhodes. Like he's doing very well.
Oh, for sure. I know it's a super
Neville.
good move. I mean, like going on the independent circuit, you really can't go wrong, especially because if you're so underutilized and you're not really making the dough that you should be making, you can do just as well. I mean, Cody Rhodes is like the king of the indie circuit now. I mean, so yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be better than fine. It just sucks you don't get to see him.
Yeah, that's true.
As much.
Yeah, and also too, like with Neville, I mean, I get the sense that he sees the writing on the wall, because like he should be pushed to at least a mid card, like Intercontinental or U.S. Championships,
which is where he was. He is a former Intercontinental champion.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Neville never won the Intercontinental title.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He never did.
I think that he always just stayed in his lane, which was the wrong approach. I think. Yeah, I don't remember him doing more than.
No, like his highest
division.
No, like his highest achievement was the NXT Championship, where he had the longest reign, and then Finn Balor broke his record.
Yeah, that's right.
And now with Neville, you know, on his way out, it's like it makes the cruiserweight division less enjoyable than it already is. Not because of the talents, but because of how poorly they've been booked.
The book,
yeah,
and the fact that they're planning on Enzo Amore getting the title back makes that division and that title even more meaningless than it already is.
I mean, like Kalisto, am I 7 years old? Like I saw, I was like, oh my god, like he's not, and he's great, but like who cares? Like I feel like they need like new blood, and they have it. They just don't know how to use it. And like Enzo Amore winning back the cruiserweight title, why him? But like I feel like creative always does this. They have the guy that they want to push. They want to be like this huge thing. And we all have to suffer through it. Like, I don't want to hear this guy, like, ever again. I mean, small amounts, but, like, what the frick? I mean, I don't know. I admittedly missed, I think, a few episodes of Raw, but I don't know. It was like, did Kalisto get this big, like, rejuvenation among Raw, or was it he just...
No, he was just like presented.
Right? That was the vibe that I got. They have like 500 cruiserweights and don't know what to do with a single. But sure, let's bring out Kalisto from
I want Cedric Alexander to win the belt.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would.
Like he's one of my top three. TJP, who's already had it. Ced and Mustafa Ali.
Oh, I love him.
Mustafa Ali is very talented.
He's so good. And, like, I think that he's kind of in that zone right now where his matches are super choreographed. Like, to the point where you can tell, like, he's doing his moves. But I don't mind it because it's cool to see. It's fun to see. It's what you don't see in other matches and what makes the cruiserweight division, like, my absolute favorite, because you see the athleticism. Like, people who are like, oh, you know, like, wrestling is fake and these people aren't real athletes and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I feel like for me, the cruiserweight division totally it's where you see it. And with Mustafa, oh my God, he's awesome. He's so goddamn good. He's really talented. So hopefully we see him get a push. I don't know if we will. Not in the current,
praying for it.
The current state of things.
Yeah.
Let's move 205 Live to Full Sail on a Thursday night.
That would be awesome.
It would be so much better. That crowd would appreciate it so much more, and they will be able to put on a better show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Full Sail. That's like the perfect
for it. You've seen the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, with the Cruiserweight Classic, like looking back, like I was disappointed that Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. didn't sign. But looking back, I'm glad they didn't. They dodged a mean bullet. Because the thought of Kota Ibushi, who's one of the very best wrestlers in the world, wasting away in WWE television, that's a slap in the that's a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Oof. So Yeah, man. Hopefully Neville will see greener pastures. Hopefully he can,
Hopefully things like change. Hopefully they work something out and things change. Like hopefully this will be like, okay, maybe we need to pay more attention to this. Triple H, come on, you got influence. You know better.
Nah, at the end of the day, the buck always stops
goes
with Vince,
Vince.
no matter what.
And he loves these like chuds. Like he loves guys like Enzo Amore, the talkers.
Because they sell. They
know,
sell. Like
I
people,
know.
like even though everybody's sick of Enzo,
I know. His
once he
merch
gets on
sales
it,
are so good.
everybody's buying that wig. Everybody's buying that leopard print shirt. And
They are
everybody still says that catchphrase.
Yeah.
And that Canadian tuxedo, we're going to be seeing more of that. Did you guys watch last night? Wearing like the denim on denim.
Oh, Jesus. I saw that.
So we're going to be seeing more of that. Great.
Yeah. So, yeah. Let's move on. Hopefully, Neville will find you in ROH or New Japan, wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Neville will be just fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yep.
Good things to come.
Oh, yeah. Other news here, the Gambit movie finally gets a release date. 20th Century Fox's Gambit film is scheduled for February 14, 2019, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Trying to do another Deadpool. I just don't. I'm still waiting to be convinced about Channing Tatum.
You don't like him?
Not as Gambit.
Not as good. Yeah.
I don't see Gambit.
But who would you pick? Like if it wasn't Channing Tatum.
Honestly, I would have been okay with the guy who played. I keep forgetting his name. The guy who played him in X-Men Orange.
Oh, Taylor Kitsch?
Yeah, just better coaching. Better acting coaching. More, he can study for the role on a level that Ryan Reynolds studied for Deadpool, or the way that Josh Brolin is studying for Cable. Even though I did post an article that Josh Brolin was actually hesitant, but then he read the script and he was like, "Yeah, I'm done.
He's
I'm
on
in."
board, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like Fox, they're trying to replicate that February success like they had with Deadpool.
I think it's gonna be big.
I think it will sell. Everybody will go see it, but it's not gonna match Deadpool. That's my prediction.
My prediction, because I love Channing Tatum and literally everything that he does. Although I've never seen the Magic Mike movies, but I love Channing Tatum so. I think he's one of the most talented people we have going. He's so multifaceted to me. He's awesome at comedy. He's pretty good at drama. I'm curious to see this version of him, but it's huge. I don't know because I feel like it's coming out in 2018. I feel like in the first X-Men movie, I don't even know when the first X-Men movie came out. What year was that?
2000.
Everybody's been wanting the Gambit movie since then. And I feel like every year there's always been rumors of the Gambit movie and this and that. And, we got glimpses of it here and there. So it's going to be pretty huge nerd shoes to fill. But I think he can pull it off. And people love gore so much. The movie's probably going to be 2.5, 3 hours long.
Yeah, but is it going to be rated R? Is Gambit? Would you consider Gambit a rated R character?
If written,
I think it could be. I don't see why not. I think that Deadpool being so successful and being rated R, I feel like that they might continue to go in that direction. People like the adult films.
yeah.
John Carpenter said Jupiter Ascending was quote unquote awesome. Thanks, Channing Tatum.
Oh, have you seen Jupiter Ascending?
Mm-hmm.
How was that, in your opinion?
It was awesome.
Is that
genuinely awesome?
Genuinely awesome.
Or sarcastic?
No, sarcastically. But I mean, aside from everyone has a slip, but it's kind of like one of those things where, maybe it'll be a cult classic one day.
Like Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or I can't think of it, but the other movie that Taylor Kitsch did.
Oh, John Carter.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is so good. I think it did totally shitty in the box office, but I loved it. I thought it was so awesome.
Wasn't he in that movie The Covenant?
The Covenant. He might be.
Because I OG know him from Friday Night Lights.
Oh, the television show or
the television show.
Okay. Nice. Well, we will We will find out.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was.
I think I saw that one.
That movie wasn't bad if it had a bigger budget. It's like you can tell, like towards the end of the movie, that they was running out of money, and all they were doing is just like throwing like water balloons at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
I
think
never saw it, but now I kind of want to.
I actually had. I remember going to the movies because we just wanted to go to the movies that night, and I'm like, hey, let's go see The Covenant. Okay, and I actually picked it up on DVD because it was like $2 in a box somewhere. So like I watched it, and I was like, it was a good story, but you can tell like it would have been a lot better if they had a better budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fair.
All right. And other news here, some in the video game world. The ESRB does not consider loot boxes to be gambling. The Electronic Software Ratings Board, the ESRB, stated, quote, while there's an element of chance in these mechanics, the player is always guaranteed to receive in-game content, even if the player unfortunately receives something they don't want, unquote. Games with real gambling automatically receive an adults-only rating, and while games with simulated gambling applies to games in which players can simulate gambling without spending real cash or currency. Loot boxes and microtransactions have increasingly been discussed in recent weeks with the controversial examples of Middle-earth Shadow of War, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and NBA 2K18, which is a really egregious one from what I've read. Loot boxes. I have some words to say about that. This whole notion, like especially in Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think it's still in the beta stage. Basically, it's where you play different multiplayer matches, like different groups, like you play as stormtroopers or rebels, and at the end of every match, you get a loot box, which gives you like different like cards or little perks that you can use to level your characters. But the way loot boxes are designed is that it sort of encourages gambling, because if you try to level up your character without spending any more money than you've already spent for the game, then it's a slog. Like you have to spend literally hours upon hours upon hours just to get to the elite players.
Yeah.
So where loot boxes come in is that if you spend, say, like $40 or $60 more on top of the $60 you spent for the game, you can easily buy your way into being the most powerful character or have the most powerful perks. It's like pay to win. And so I see with games like Battlefront 2 and then also Middle-earth Shadow of War and NBA 2K18, they're starting to use that kind of system with loot boxes and microtransactions where it's forcing you to buy perks to get the full experience faster. And it's really ethically shitty. It's a shady thing to do.
Yeah.
One thing, this made me laugh, so I have to say this. Furman says, but going back to the Gambit movie, Gambit movie should be like a superhero 50 Shades of Grey.
What? Well, with Gambit and Rogue, I could see that.
Interesting.
And then Congo says, "What is Star Wars? Never heard of it."
It's a Star Wars Congo. It's a low budget foreign indie flick series. Yeah.
Sure. But back to what you were saying.
But yeah,
That seems fucked up. I don't really know much about that. That's pretty bad to me. It seems like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
And how much? I mean,
everybody. Yes, everybody's here talking about Black Mirror. I've never watched it, but
get on it.
Yeah.
I rarely like spend like additional money on games, like in-game content or whatever, like loot boxes or whatever. I rarely, or any other DLCs. Like it has to be really worth it for me to just say, you know what?
And what's the payoff? Like, what's the benefit? Why do people spend so much money?
You just get the full, you added perks. You get the full, like Victor said, you get the full experience of the game. Whereas
that
like
sucks. What if you're broke? What if you have no money? You just want to get the full experience without all that.
And also too, it's like by introducing that pay to win mechanic, it's like the game is basically telling you it's not worth your time playing through the game normally.
Right. Yeah, that's
about
that.
And also too, like, and I'm sure Furman will take umbrage with this. I know Overwatch popularized loot boxes more so than any other game. So a lot of companies are using Overwatch's example and just like blowing it up to even more ethically dubious proportions. So thanks, Overwatch. Yeah. So yeah, this the video game industry has to get their act together because if I spend $60 on a game, that's the full experience.
That's what I want to spend. That's what I want to spend.
Yeah. Unless it's like really good DLC, like an extension.
Yeah, that's why I notice a lot of games too. Like they'll have like special editions that will cost extra. Like the Marvel vs. Capcom, they came with like figurines, very very delicate figurines. I know that it had steelbook with it. So.
Yep.
And it comes with all the downloadable content, all the DLC, so you wouldn't have to pay for it.
Okay, like a Game of the Year edition.
Yeah,
nice. So yeah, so there's that. Moving right along with the horror films, a new Halloween film is coming out. Oh,
Fremen says Overwatch gives you tons of free loot boxes with the option to buy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Furman, for the clarification. A new Halloween film is in the works, and this one will ignore all of the sequels. Horror filmmaker John Carpenter says that the upcoming film will pick up after his original 1978 film starring Jamie Lee Curtis, who will also be starring in the new film. Carpenter will be an executive producer, and David Gordon Green will be directing the film, as well as writing the script with Danny McBride. Carpenter has also said that he may provide the score of the movie. The new Halloween flick comes out next year, October 19th. So, yeah, this is going to be a direct sequel to the original classic.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm actually really, really excited, especially when I saw that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride were part of it. They put out one of my favorite comedies ever, Pineapple Express. And this is like a different, totally like a different, obviously, genre. But I was reading about it. And it's super encouraging that John Carpenter was like very on board with the script.
Oh yeah,
and like really loved, and he's scoring it, right? Like he's gonna, he may provide the score. He will.
Yeah,
he will. And I mean, you can't do a Halloween movie well without Jamie Lee Curtis. So I think it's good. I think
Didn't Jamie Lee Curtis retire from acting?
No, she's still in it.
She's still at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know she was in Halloween 2. And also Halloween H2O with LL Cool J.
Yeah, not a bad one.
Yeah. And then Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes. But
oh yeah, God, yeah. There's been so many, so it's good that it's ignoring all of the sequels.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yep. And
okay. Fremen says my quote unquote Halloween movie would be Victor showing up at my house at 10 o'clock at night.
I can make it happen. Anyway, there's also
that boy's dreams.
Also, if you go on YouTube, you can check out the Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's remix of the Halloween theme.
It's really good.
It is definitely arguably creepier than the original, and that's saying something.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good take on it. I also recommend that theme. But I'm excited. John Carpenter is the man. I mean, like absolutely the king. So.
Oh yeah.
That'll be good to see. I hate that we have to wait so long, but I'll be here soon enough.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And also, another news: Futurama is now available on Hulu.
Yep, saw it there yesterday.
Nice.
So there's literally like I only have like one favorite episode. Like I can sit and watch Futurama. Like if it's on and there's nothing else on, I'm like Futurama and just watch it. I work overnight, so it's on. But my favorite part, my favorite like moment was when Bender revealed his last name.
Bender.
His full name is Bender Bending Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've watched a handful of episodes of Futurama, and I enjoyed it in its first run.
Yeah. I never like seek it out, but when it's on, because I feel like it's always on TV.
Yeah.
I like toss it on the background when I'm making dinner or something. Usually chuckle a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I never laughed so hysterically at that show until I saw that one part.
Well, yeah. So all you Hulu streamers, now's your chance.
Yes.
Yep. Also, another news: Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be writing the Storm comic series for Marvel. He's going to be collaborating with Gem and the Holograms illustrator Jen Bartel, and there's no word on a release date for the Storm series. Looking forward to it because he's done good work on Black Panther.
Yeah. I put that. Yeah, I'm putting that one in my box.
Oh yeah.
At Rock Hogo. Let me specify that.
Yeah. How many? Your box must be overflowing at Rock Hogo's.
No. I knocked a lot of it down. I got all the hip hop covers that I had from over there, but there's still like so much. I still got like over 60 I gotta get.
Okay.
I will get all those.
Cool.
And there will be a code extra where I'm just like showing them all.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that. Also, another comic news: the Marston family has denounced the Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman film, which came out this weekend.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Did you see it?
No, I haven't.
Why haven't you?
I feel is it like a moral conflict? Because I feel so they're saying it's all a bunch of bullshit, right? Like it's just kind of like fantasy, like nothing in the movie is legit.
Yeah, but I actually did hear that like Wonder Woman was like inspired by like S&M and dominatrix stuff. Like.
And so it's interesting to see because it's like I'm curious, like I'm curious to see it, but then I also feel like if it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, like
that's the way I can describe it. Then I don't really know what it does for me.
Yeah, I'm torn too because like it's gotten good reviews.
It has gotten wicked good reviews. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, but apparently Christy Marston, who's the granddaughter of William Moulton Marston, the creator of Wonder Woman, she tweeted Saturday that, quote, this film is not a true story. It is based on someone's imagination, not in any way related to my family. We completely reject any claims made in the film and in no way support this work of fiction. And by the way, the true story is much more interesting.
But they didn't want to tell it, apparently. Or maybe they were never approached.
Yeah, apparently they were never approached, I believe. And
I always wonder how stuff like this gets made. Like, who signs off on... No one? You can just do it? Like, you can just create a movie and not have the family involved in any way? But
I always thought you did because, like, the whole, like, they've been wanting to make, like, Jimi Hendrix movies for, like, ever. Like, the Richard Pryor movie has been in developmental hell for, like, 20 years.
Right.
Because of the, because of the family disputes and everything. I think it has to do with like their estates.
Their estates, yeah.
And then who oversees it.
But I saw the trailer and I thought it looked good, but now I don't know. I don't want to betray anyone.
Yeah, and if the real story is much more interesting, like I heard that the book, The Secret History of Wonder Woman, I heard that one was excellent.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just do that.
Yeah.
Instead. And not give any although I wonder how they preface it, like this movie, like if there's something in the beginning that says that it's not from the family. It's just
only one way to find out.
Yeah.
And I would because I've seen the commercial many times, so I would love to hear what you have to say about that. You too.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we can give it a whirl.
Yeah, maybe not, well, not this weekend, but maybe next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and plus, like, I know, like, different biopics, like, take creative licenses to different degrees.
Sure.
But some of them are, like, way off the mark, like, that they're fictionalized. Like, A Beautiful Mind was a good example.
Yeah.
The Hurricane was heavily fictionalized. Yeah, which is too bad. But, we will wait and see on this one. And this news here, oh Jesus! Apparently,
don't get us sued if you keep saying that.
Shout outs to Bill Burr. Apparently, Beetlejuice 2, the project that will never die, has been resurrected. Beetlejuice 2 has been resurrected with a new writer. Warner Brothers has hired screenwriter Mike Vukadinovich, who worked on Marvel's Runaways on Hulu.
Is it out?
It's not out yet. It's coming out in a few weeks. Apparently, Vukadinovich will be writing the script for the long-rumored sequel to the 1988 Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder film.
Worth a shot seeing. Like, I love the original Beetlejuice.
Oh, it was fun.
It's such a fun movie. It's a classic. And I love the cartoon growing up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best.
So, I mean, sure, I'm going to check it out. I mean, I also came across a rumor that there's going to be a Coming to America too.
No.
Oh, God, what?
I
see. I just feel like there's certain movies that are just so
they should be left alone.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like I can't even picture Going to America too.
Yeah, like
I don't want to even think about that. Like, I can't imagine.
It would the only thing that would make sense if Akeem and Lisa's son do the same thing.
Right, yeah, like, and a lot of movies do that, like that thing, like it's their kid or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like they, like when you guys were talking about Bill and Ted last week, like it's children that maybe are going to like drive the story just out of nowhere. But this, I can't even like picture, I don't even know what the story would be.
Yeah.
Like this guy's that good of a writer that he can make this make sense, because I don't know.
Is Michael Keaton going to be in it?
When I read, I mean, there's been so much just like drama surrounding this, like people on board, people not on board, rumors. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, is kind of where I'm at with this. But I had read that Michael Keaton was on board with it somehow, like he was full
He's
speed
one of
ahead.
his like classic characters, you know, Beetlejuice,
Maybe
Batman, Captain Jean. You know.
Maybe he misses, I don't know, playing him, but I just can't. I don't know. I can't picture it myself. Yeah. Because I don't know, like Tim Burton is just kind of, I don't know, like
Weird.
I feel like I love old Tim Burton. I love some of his newer films, some of them. I think like Big Eyes is probably the last one that I saw that I liked of his.
Yeah.
But he kind of like jumped the shark a little bit with his own aesthetic, and I'm just afraid that it would be too much of like contemporary Tim Burton and not what he was so, I don't know, what I loved out of him, which was in the 80s, early 90s.
Like a bit watered down, I suppose.
Or just too much, like either watered down or like amped up into like, I mean, obviously Beetlejuice is kind of like a very kitschy movie. Like it's not, it has like its corniness factor, but I feel like sometimes he just does that now, Tim Burton, in like such an amplified way that I feel like he could ruin like the awesome character that he created. And I just worry about that because I love that movie so much. Like I don't know anyone that hates Beetlejuice. Like, I don't know anyone who does. It's literally a perfect movie.
I like Beetlejuice.
I'm just checking.
We're just, no, I do too. And
You tend to hate popular things.
No, I don't.
How long did it take you to watch a Fast and the Furious movie?
I've been watching Fast and Furious. Well, like, okay, I watched the Fast 5. Well, I watched the first one when it came out in theaters.
Okay.
Then I skipped all of them, and then
We
I
were
watched.
in high school. Everybody saw Fast.
Yeah, but in high school, you don't know shit. But I watched Fast 5 when it came out, well, on Blu-ray and Redbox, and I enjoyed it then. I thought it was a disposable action flick and nothing more. But it wasn't until we started the podcast that I got into all of them, and I said, hey, you know what? These are actually good for what they are, but they're still good.
You've been known to like this, like a lot of like popular mainstream stuff.
No, what do you make me sound like a hipster, man? Come on, man. I mean,
you are a bit of a hipster.
I am
why
not.
Do you think I give you
Hold up. Listen,
T-Rex?
listen now. Let it be known, Victor A. Omoyo is not a hipster. All
I
right.
have hipster tendencies.
hipster tendencies. That's all I can say. Maybe like hipster, but I do too. I think I do as well with certain things. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I
Not
mean,
necessarily.
how dare you? Anyway,
But yeah, I'm scared of it too.
yeah. I mean, hopefully, at least it's not Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, but
That would have been weird.
yeah,
That was the original, right? Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. That's like what they originally wanted to do.
yeah.
Congo said that you're a hipster.
F you, Congo.
I think Congo would know. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway,
Survivor Series. Make sure you're here for the show. Make sure you're here.
also a last bit of news here. Before we get to some trailers, Thor Ragnarok is actually part 1 of a backdoor Hulk film trilogy for the MCU. So apparently, Mark Ruffalo and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, they have worked together to plan a 3-movie arc for Bruce Banner / Hulk, which will unfold in the next 3 MCU films the character appears in. So it'll be Ragnarok, followed by Avengers 3 and 4. Ruffalo explained that Feige asked him about his own ideas for the Hulk character, what he wanted to include, and as they were talking, they both agreed to implement Ruffalo's and Feige's ideas in the next 3 films. And the reason why they're doing this is because Universal Studios still retains the solo film rights to the Hulk character.
Yeah. John Carpenter says spoilers. It will stink, but I'm sure Justice League's gonna be just a big historic blockbuster.
Oh yeah. or should we call it the Just Ass League?
John Aponic. He's the supervillain. He's a DC
Apologist. Yeah, John Haponic. Yeah, I'll be seeing you this weekend, my friend.
He really needs to come up here and be on the show.
He should. We will make it happen at some point. But
we have to.
I will say, I was texting John earlier, and we were talking a bit about Marvel films, the latest ones, and Spider-Man: Homecoming came out on Blu-ray this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
And I came across, because I was at Target, I had to get some cleaning supplies, and I looked at it, and I was like,
you wasn't gonna get it.
I was looking at it, and I was like, do I want this on my collection? Nah, I'm good. And it's so weird because with the newer MCU films, after Civil War, like Doctor Strange, Guardians 2 especially, and even Spider-Man: Homecoming, I gave them good reviews, except Guardians 2, and I'm like, they're good films, they're enjoyable. Only once. I have no I don't feel compelled to watch them again.
Black Panther's gonna completely turn that around for you. I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, even then, well, you know what? Let's since we're on a Marvel, we'll get to the other trailers too. But let's get to the Black Panther trailer, which dropped.
Yeah.
I'm so amped up. I'm showing up dressed up like Akeem from Coming to America.
Oh my gosh.
I got the Snapchat ready.
How many people are going to show up to the theater wearing dashikis and whatnot?
Oh, you seen the memes?
Oh, I've seen them.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Black Panther trailer?
Yes, I did.
Yes. What did you think?
I think it looks excellent. I will not be wearing a dashiki to see it, but I'm wicked excited. It looks so good. I love that whole aesthetic that the movie's taken on, and it just looks like it's going to be a good film. So not just your garden variety superhero film. I think it's going to be legit, and the talent that they got for it is just unreal. It's over the top good. So
yeah,
I hopes.
After it's I am so amped. I'm down. And she said you're always in Target.
Yeah, of course. But with Black Panther, I'm really looking forward to it. What I really dig about it is that finally we actually have a wide scale, major scale superhero film with predominantly black characters.
Yeah.
That's why so many people are. That's why we as a culture are so amped for it.
Yeah,
because what was the last time we had a movie like that? Media Man.
Oh my gosh! We've had our superhero films inclusive of Meteor Man, Blank Man.
I love those two. I love those two movies for what it was back in the day. Yeah, if I was to watch it again, I'm like, yo, this shit is so stupid. I would look at it like how I look at Pootie Tang.
Oh my gosh!
Pootie Tang is such an awful movie that is great.
Oh, and Steel with Shaquille O'Neal. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was a one-off for me.
Yeah, and
John Aponic just said it.
Yeah, and the closest good black superhero film was Blade. Well, the first two.
Yeah,
yeah, we can ignore.
Sorry, Triple H.
Yeah, Blade Trinity we can ignore. Yeah. But my
Hancock.
Hancock.
But that was only one person.
Yeah, that was original with Will Smith.
Yeah.
But my biggest fear with Black Panther is that it appears to follow the same MCU template, in terms of plot and the villain who's played by Michael B. Jordan, who's an awesome actor. Yeah. But
you see, he got jacked.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
huge, way bigger than he was in Creed.
Yeah,
for sure.
But my biggest fear is that is taking that same MCU template where the main villain is not only going to be forgettable but also just an evil clone of the hero.
Yeah, I see where you get at because I saw in the trailer where he has his own Black Panther
armor.
Yeah. So I'm I think it will still play. I think it will still play off. I think it will still be rather enjoyable.
I mean, I have no doubt.
I really believe it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I just hope that it has replay value. Is what I'm saying.
I think so.
Yeah,
I can still watch Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I'm a Marvel guy.
Yeah, but speaking of Marvel, another trailer dropped. The New Mutants. an horror film set within the X-Men universe coming out next April 13th, starring Macy Williams, Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in The Witch,
Yeah, so good.
Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things, Alice Braga, Henry Zaga's Blue Hunt, and it's directed by Josh Boone, who did The Fault in Our Stars.
Oddly enough, it's interesting who signs up, but that trailer looks awesome, I think.
Oh, it does.
Looks so good. It's just like, I was watching it, and I'm like, what is this? Is this like independent? I like forgot that it was an X-Men kind like movie. Like it's in that universe because it just is completely different than anything I've ever really seen before out of a trailer. Like it legit seems like a standalone horror film, which like I don't know, that appeals to me because I feel like some of the X-Men movies.
And Macy Williams is getting. Yeah, Macy Williams is getting work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Wanda's
Charlie's
big ass Game of Thrones hiatus.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are all sad about that. Jesus.
Yeah. 2019. man.
Really sad. But maybe
Yeah.
this will be a good intermediate. I'm excited to see her in something different.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Charlie too. Like he's obviously I don't know, pretty like up and coming. So it'll be interesting to see him in something that's not Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I think it's really cool that Fox is doing like interesting and different things with the X-Men universe, like with Deadpool, Logan, now like the new mutants.
I like it. I think it works because I kind of like what you were saying about Black Panther. What you're afraid of is just kind of like that formula and things getting tired and just kind of seeing the same movie over and over again. And I feel like I haven't really been super excited for like an X-Men movie universe or whatever in a really long time.
Since Deadpool?
I mean,
Was you excited for Deadpool?
oh, wicked excited.
Okay.
No, for sure. And that's been a minute. So I'm totally on board with this. I'm excited to see it. I think it's just, I don't know, like a breath of fresh air is what it seems. I mean, hopefully it doesn't suck, but like judging by the trailer, I mean, it really looks cool, like cool as hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. So fingers crossed, I'll be there.
Yeah, The Fault in Our Stars. I mean, I can't say much about that. It's so
The only
funny
thing
to
I can
me.
say about that movie is the song associated with it, the Boom Clap song by Charlie XO.
Oh, is it
that's
XCX? Is that
something
her?
like that?
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Junkie XL? No.
No, it's like it's like
You
Charlie
love
X-
The Fault in Our Stars. You've seen that movie?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
All I know is the song from.
And I
associated
know
with the
that movie from the trailer, and I think it was a book.
Yeah, it was
it
a
was.
book because I remember one of my clients bought it.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. And we also had another trailer here, Love Beats Rhymes, starring Azalea Banks, directed by the RZA.
Now, when was that filmed? Because I remember that she was working with RZA, and then they had like a falling out, like a big falling out, like a year ago.
Banks has a falling out
With everyone, right? I
everybody.
know she like is problematic. So I feel like this was filmed a really, I don't know, like a few years ago. Because they're definitely not on. I don't think they're even like on speaking terms. I don't know how they're gonna push this film. But I watched the trailer.
I mean, to me, it looks like it's gonna be just a you got served for poetry slamming.
Yeah,
Like, you got served with a combination of 8 Mile.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, but they don't show her really like doing anything in the trailer that's worthwhile, like that to get you excited about it. Like you don't really see her doing much. She's like spitting in class or whatever, and her teacher hates it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see Jill Scott out of nowhere. Like I feel like I haven't seen her in a while. And Common, why not?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It didn't really like speak to me, and I also can't stand Azalea Banks. So.
Oh.
Oh, you ain't the only one.
Yeah.
I've never like heard her music. Honestly, the only thing I know her about is just
Like
starting
the-
shit with everybody.
Yeah, starting
That's
shit.
all I know about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. I don't know. Maybe this will be a turning point for her.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And last trailer here, the independent art house film, Star Wars: The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
Enlighten me,
which
Victor.
is which
Oh yeah, you're like at hating Carl.
yeah, which well,
Okay. I was never a hardcore Star Wars fan.
Sure.
Like I literally watched it for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into it, but like I said last week, like this trailer actually made me say I'm actually a bit excited for it.
yeah. I watched the trailer. Of course, I will be seeing it. 59 days away, Friday, December 15th.
He started the countdown, everybody.
Did you buy tickets yet? Do you buy tickets in advance? Do you do that? Like,
Well, I did buy tickets in advance for The Force Awakens.
Oh, you've seen his Facebook pictures. Yeah. Don't even lie. He stood right over there, had all his Star Wars stuff, moved his pictures and all that, and just took it in here and just...
He's just playing it cool now. That's
yeah. You know, I'm I'm looking forward to this film, even though it does feel like they're repeating certain beats from The Empire Strikes Back with the AT-ATs, a white surfaced planet.
Yes.
The old mentor training the new rookie with Luke. But it does seem to have some interesting unique bits to it in terms of its plot. I mean, I have faith in Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
Hopefully he was able to provide something that's different and genuinely like earth-shattering and unique. I couldn't care less about any of the Star Wars spin-off films. Like that's y'all can have it.
The new one that is newly titled Solo.
Just Solo?
Yeah, I posted it on our Instagram earlier today.
Isn't that a Mario Van Peebles movie? Solo?
I think so.
Back in 96? Yeah,
but it's called yeah, but the Han Solo spinoff is going to be called Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You don't see it?
I'm not going to see it. Only because
yes,
because
for the sake of the podcast, you will.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got the podcast. I mean, I just the reason why my okay, I see the logo now. The reason why my enthusiasm is a bit muted for Star Wars, apart from the main films like episodes 8 and 9, is because like Star Wars, I feel like it's 10 times more corporate than it was before, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Like you see Star Wars merchandise everywhere. You see these films. You got the TV shows, and and the books too, which are all canon now. And it's like it's too much.
It is a lot.
Yeah, to keep up with everything, it's like.
And I think that there is like an oversaturation factor, which kind of takes the specialness out of it, or like the anticipation. Because if you just get a Star Wars movie because it used to be like years and years between films. And even between 4, 5, and 6 and 1, 2, and 3, I mean, like how many, a billion years. Like, I don't think anyone could have predicted. I never thought those movies were going to happen.
Yeah.
But the anticipation was so great. And I feel like now, I mean,
there's really no anticipation because you know what's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm not a hater. I'll see them. I'll definitely see the spin-offs. But isn't Donald playing Lando?
Yeah,
Donald Glover.
I love him, and I think he's good. And I'm curious to see him in a role like that. But I do think that because I'm always curious about what people have to say about Star Wars, and I think a lot of people do think of it as. Like these movies are just kind of being created for like Disney to like sell shit for toys and for merch and stuff like that. So it's not really as it's like the corporate, too corporate, too commercial, too whatever. I mean, but it is now. Like Star Wars is everywhere. Like,
they have their own like section at Disney World now.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like people are worried.
I don't know if that opened yet.
No, probably in some form right now. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not super familiar with anything.
Yeah, like
Disney.
it's gonna be like a whole. It's like a whole like Star Wars section where it's like their food. You can drink like blue milk and like everything that they were eating and drinking in the movie. Like the hotel looks like the inside of the Death Star. Maybe not exactly that, or like one section looks like where Luke Skywalker grew up and. It's just basically like you're in the Star Wars world.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I think people are just worried about like the integrity of the story and like what's
like
canon and what isn't canon. I mean, I don't even really know at this point. I don't read the books. There's just too much. Like, you're right. There's just so much going on. I don't know which way is up.
John Carpenter said they need to make Rey turn to the dark side for a real surprise.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Kylo Ren's, like the way how they show him with all those scars and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I thought, well, like like him being all scarred up or like healed up. I thought that was a cool visual.
Yeah, like something to give him like it gave him that like he's really there. He's really in the dark side. Like just like in episode 7 where like he reunites with Han Solo and he's like, just when there's starting to be some hope, kills him. Like, ooh, you relentless bastard. Good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
the only time I can advocate for like killing somebody's father.
Oh my gosh.
is when you want to see them turn. But yeah, I see what you're saying with that.
Yeah. So the trailer's out. It's got millions of hits on YouTube. I'll be in the theaters Friday, December 15, 59 days away. I will be there.
I'll see it that weekend.
Yeah. Just see it that weekend. That's it for all the news and headlines. Let's get into
Damn.
it was a jam-packed weekend. The doctor was looking real jacked, baby. It's looking real jacked. Booker T.
I know. Like sure.
But we got a bunch of, since being that this is the month of October, we have a bunch of horror films, horror recommendations we want to bring out to the fore.
You got two Halloween babies here.
Yep. Oh,
Good stuff.
yes, indeed. So, Angela, would you like to start us off with some horror recommendations?
Sure. Actually, and Vic brought a lot of his stuff, which I love. Like, I was so impressed with this collection. I've never seen this, though.
Oh, yeah, that is Blood and Black Lace.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a 60s giallo film. It's a Italian horror film.
Oh, see, that's probably why I don't know. That's like my one. I can't even pretend like I know anything about that.
Yeah, it's actually a slasher film, which actually it's actually one of the prototypes for the slasher genre, and it inspired a bunch of filmmakers like Dario Argento, Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Even Martin Scorsese. I took some inspiration from it because he's big on Italian films.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool one. It's about this like this like high fashion house with all these models, and they're being murdered one by some crazy dude wearing a mask. He kind of looks like Darkman, black trench coat, hat, and everything. And they're trying to figure out who's killing these women and why. And the film, like visually, it's stunning. Like the colors just really pop. Awesome color saturation. It reminds me a lot of Suspiria.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if it was like that movie.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a second, Carl.
Okay.
Also like the what's interesting is that even though it was an Italian film, like the dialogue was actually dubbed over in Italian, and they actually filmed it in English. Really? So as I was watching it, I noticed that like the lip movement didn't match the dialogue.
Yeah.
So I just watched it in English, and I was like, oh, this is normal. They just actually performed in English. It was just all American actors and everything. So yeah, I think that was the style for a lot of like popular Italian films back then, where they will hire like English speaking actors and just like dub over their dialogue in Italian. So, but yeah, this is an awesome film, Blood and Black Lace. If you're in the mood for something twisted and gorgeous looking, here's your ticket.
I'm curious to see that because I feel like older, like you said, what 1960s?
Yep.
Italian. I feel like foreign horror is kind of something I don't know too much about because when I watched Suspiria. I had been seeking that movie out, like trying to find it because I was like, it's been on every list, and I really want to give it a shot.
Amazon has it probably.
I watched it. Yeah, I think it was on like Amazon. I think actually that is correct, and I think I need to see more movies in that vein to get like an appreciation because I think my gut reaction when I put a movie in or on that's like that. Yeah. Like really bizarre and like the acting kind of throws me because it's so just like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, over the top. My gut reaction is like I hate this. Like I remember like texting you and I was like I don't know if I can make it through, but I was like I have to because I put it on and it's a classic. And then I ended up getting into it. So I'm curious to see more movies that are kind of in that style. Yeah, just to like, round out the wheelhouse. But I love this, Vic. So good.
Yes.
One thing though to add on our Facebook Live feed. So Congo says, hold up, somebody something happened. Let me scroll. So Congo said, I got a horror film. Watch Carl wrestle LMAO. Just kidding. Listen, I had potential back then. I was like,
I really want to see that.
Oh, if somebody has footage of that, please upload it to YouTube.
Oh, please, I'm dying
Bob
to
Evans
see
has
it.
it.
Nice.
Our wait
God.
stop, Bob Evans has it.
Make it happen.
I want to see it one time, and then I'll probably hate it. So then Furman says, I have a horror recommendation. Watch Victor on a Date, directed by Jacob Agave.
That's funny, Furman. That's real funny.
I want to see both of those things, though.
Yeah. but yes,
Those are nice.
they sure are.
Trick or Treat.
Yes.
I love this. It took me a while to see this too because I couldn't find it. Have you seen this? No. You're not super into the horror genre.
No, I'm really not. I've watched some, but like I'm really not, especially for somebody who's a Halloween baby.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I feel maybe that's why I never really like put it together because I was born the day before Halloween, so I just always I don't know I gravitate toward. But this is great. So if you like kind of it's not really B movie style, like funny, kind of like that comedy horror. It's so good, and I don't know. I love that you have this.
Yeah, like I heard a lot about it, and it's like an anthology horror film, so it's like 4 stories.
Yes,
in
which is
one.
so old school
Yeah.
to do. Like I love that style because you get a bunch of different stories and they're all so good. But I think this is kind of like, at least for when did this come out?
Yeah, 2007.
Was it 2007? Oh,
Yeah.
so actually
Yeah,
like
think
way
about
longer than I thought. But it's like a cult classic
It is.
for sure. Like if you haven't seen Trick or Treat and you like horror movies,
Yep, and
this is the way to go.
yeah, and Dylan Baker's in it. He plays this school principal who murders a trick or treater by giving him he gives him like this poisoned chocolate bar, and the kid's just puking up gobs of blood.
It's gory, but not
And
like
he-
over the top.
And he buries him in the backyard. Oh man,
Oh, it's so great.
it is.
Really, I mean, it's really, really good. But it's not like super over the top, violent or gory. It's like what you'd expect, I think, for that
Oh,
genre.
for sure.
But I'm super pumped about, so. I love The Descent so much. I was just talking about this movie the other day. I never saw this. There's a sequel, correct?
I believe so. Yeah,
There
part
was.
2.
That sounds like trash because this
Yeah.
is like the world's most perfect horror movie. I saw this in the theater when it came out, and it's just so. It's like the exact kind of horror movie that I love, where you don't really like see the monster really like full throttle. Like you just kind of they build up the terror factor, like they're afraid and you know why they're afraid, and the elements in the movie and just like really claustrophobic and like people getting stuck because it's essentially a movie about women who go like cave diving essentially, like spelunking I think is the word, correct?
Yep.
I think I remember seeing it.
After like a trauma. And the opening scene of this movie is so good and like it haunts me, but so good. If you haven't seen it, it'll get you in the mood quick. And they go on this kind of adventure. It's supposed to be really empowering and really good for them, but then it just kind of turns to shit slowly but surely. But it's like very well done. Like I feel like the timing of it is really good. There's no like cheap scares really. There's kind of like a pop in, pop out of, you know, there is like a monster in the movie. But it's not, I don't know. I just hate when you like see the monster and you see them for too long and they're so corny and they're so like the CGI is shit and it like takes you out of the movie. I feel like with the Descent, it's, I don't know. It's all the parts are working.
Like Cloverfield?
Which one? The first?
The first one.
Yeah.
I really liked the first Cloverfield. Seeing the monster at the end didn't really take me out of it too much. I mean, there are certain like like that movie. I want to say it was called maybe Mama, where you like see the thing at the end. Did you ever see that, Vic? Like it's like based off of a short, like a 2-minute short film you can watch on YouTube. My sister and I saw it, and we were like totally on board and really into it. But then at the end, you see this like horrible CGI'd monster, and it just takes you out of it because it's so corny and it's so ridiculous, and the whole movie isn't in that vein. But then all of a sudden, it is. But with The Descent, not like that at all. It's just so good. But it does like kind of fuck with you. I think like at least that's the vibe that I got when I watched it.
Yeah, Congo says, "Does Vampire in Brooklyn count as a horror movie?"
Yeah, why not?
Is that with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, it's so good.
I was like that whole slew where Eddie Murphy just does like bad movies,
It's so good.
and then he would just hit you with a good one. Like he would make like the Golden Child, okay, the Golden Child, Vampire in Brooklyn. Then he'll hit you with the Nutty Professor.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god, retro.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, and also too with the Descent, like it does remind me of a video game which is on the PS4, a horror video game called Until Dawn. Yeah, and there's some elements that game takes from this movie, like the main Wendigo monster, like it's like tall, gangly, all white, very scary looking. Yeah, and also a cannibal. It's also, I thought that was pretty cool. You're like, and plus, like, since they're in a cave, it's like so claustrophobic, and there's like, and there's one part where she dives into this like whole pool of pulp-filled blood. Ugh.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And then she
Not
gets,
pretty much the scene right there on the cover.
yeah, for sure. And
Yep.
she gets stuck in that, like, because the entire time, because they're obviously cave diving, you know that at some point one of them is going to get stuck while trying to like traverse narrow channels, and then it happens, and the scene is so painful to experience because you don't really see much. Like, it's a pretty dark scene. She's just trying to escape from, or like get through, and you're like, she's gonna get stuck. She's gonna get stuck, and it's such a long scene. Like, really, you can feel it.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I love about that movie, is you can just really, really feel it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So check out The Descent, y'all.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Vic, you have all my favorites.
Yes.
The best.
Oh.
And I said about all these, but I saw this movie in the theater with my father, and it must have been in 2001 because we saw it when it came out. And this is like not only one of my favorite horror movies, it's just like one of my favorite films of all time.
The Others.
So good. Yeah, sorry, the others.
Yep.
With Nicole Kidman. So well done. She pretty much carries the entire movie. It's like a period. I forget what the year is that this takes place in. I don't even think they really mention like specifics. Her husband is in war. I know that. He's in a war. Oh no, it's a Weinstein production, but a good one.
Yeah.
really, really great. And Tom Cruise was the executive producer on this.
Yep, he was.
See?
Wasn't Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman married at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like it was like a million years ago. But the others is
World War II.
it is World War II, correct? So I wasn't like a super long time ago, so I guess more contemporary, although it doesn't feel like it, because like the whole idea of the film is that this woman, her husband is in war, and she's taking care of her kids who are like allergic to sunlight, and she is taking care of them in this house, and all the curtains are drawn, so the entire movie is just very dark and kind of bleak. I mean, there's no happiness or like the positive outlook. She homeschools her kids. They never really go anywhere or do anything. She has a son and a daughter.
That's awful.
It's I mean, it actually, one of the movie, when it was first coming out, like the trailers, they really hyped it up to have like a surprise ending, and I totally thought the ending was a surprise. Like I didn't see it coming. Like I couldn't. And other movies since then have definitely adopted that type of surprise ending, I think. Actually, I've seen a couple that definitely were influenced by the others, but I don't know. I think that movie's scary. Like, I think that it's really scary. I think and you don't see shit. Like, it like literally builds tension and terror so well, but you don't see anything like scary. There's no monster. It's like it's just like a very mindful kind of scare, but it's one of my favorite movies. Acting's perfect.
Yep, and it relies on atmosphere.
Yes, aesthetic is great. The atmosphere is awesome. Nicole Kidman's like one of the greatest actresses ever, I think, when it comes to just like, just genre. She's so good at basically everything.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. What was like the last movie she was in?
She was just in Big Little Lies, that show for HBO.
Yeah,
it won like 1 million Emmies.
Yeah, it's like a miniseries, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's awesome. It's so good. I don't know if you'd like it, Carl, but it's really good. It's really good. No, she
seems so uncultured.
But then she was just in that awful horror movie I saw. Oh, why the hell can't I think of it? Vic,
it was awful.
Vic, you know which one I'm talking about. It was like similar aesthetic to the others. It was like very dark. Elle Fanning was in it. It's actually so similar kind of to this. it's during the Civil War, and this like Nicole Kidman and all these younger girls that she's like taking care of in this house because like everyone's family and parents have gone, disbanded, been killed, whatever, and they take in a soldier. It's Colin Farrell.
Oh, The Beguiled?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, The Beguiled.
Oh, have you've seen it?
I did see it. I saw it when it came out because I was super excited because I thought it would kind of be maybe similar to the others. At least that's kind of how they promoted it. I did not like it. I was so bored. I'd wish that I saw that and I was like, oh, I wish I had saw
She's going to be an Aquaman.
The Big Sick. Who is?
Nicole Kidman.
Oh, who's she playing?
She's playing Queen Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Atlanta. I probably said it wrong.
I'll take it. I think she's good. And so she has been in stuff recently. She's kind of
She's still working.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, hard. But that movie was bogus, I thought. And I think everyone kind of felt the same way. The others is much better.
Okay.
Don't see The Beguiled.
Gotcha.
It's a waste of time.
Yep.
And this, the best.
Let the right one in.
Part 4.
Yeah.
Let the right one in. Have you seen this?
Let me see. I've seen Carrie.
All right.
I watched Halloween when I was a kid. I watched The Shining.
Shining.
I always said it wrong. Let's just say let me tell you something. I've always said it wrong growing up.
I'll accept The Shining.
That was a joke on The Simpsons, actually.
Yes.
That's probably
that's
why I said it. I said it wrong.
That's the Simpsons episode I've actually seen. But yeah, this is good shit for vampire movies.
Yes.
For vampire movies.
Oh, yeah. Let the right one in. This was directed by Thomas Alfredson. And this movie, it's just so delicious and delightful. It's about this...
There's so many words that you can say.
No, it's about this young kid named Oscar who was basically bullied, ostracized, picked on by other kids in his school, and he meets this young girl named Ellie, and she's kind of a loner, and there's something a little peculiar about her. She just so happens to have a thirst for blood. And they become friends, and eventually, it's like a slow burn film where where the whole film is full of dread, and then like towards the end, woo, man, it's just so
good.
It's so grisly and so violent. I was like, yes,
It's one of the best scenes ever. Like, it's so because
You
I
need
feel
a hug, man, or something. Like you are so excited over that much violence.
it's horror.
No, but the thing is, it's like what's so good about it is that you don't really you hear it. Like you hear what's going on, you don't really see what's going on, and that's what makes it so good because I feel like a lot of horror films, excuse the phrase, like blow their load on like violence and gore and like showing too much, and it just takes you out of it. Like some movies, like Evil Dead, you're supposed to have that. Like you're supposed to see the shit go down.
Right.
But like Let the Right One In is just it's super delicious. I'll go with that. And it's just such a beautiful film, and it's driven by child actors, which is like my favorite in the world. Like I love movies with child actors, like really just driving it home because it's really authentic. Because I feel like young actors are not so self-conscious and in their own heads that they can just like play the parts and play them really well. And some of my favorite horror movies are driven by child actors. And it's a foreign film.
Yep, Swedish.
So it's not normally, because I think I saw this actually at the Avon in Providence. It wasn't like a wide release.
Oh, I did too. Yeah. Yeah.
There's actually another person who goes to the Avon? I shouldn't be saying
Oh my
that.
God, we were
High
probably
five.
there at the same time. I bet.
I don't know why you said you're a Victor Amore fan. You're a Victor Amore fangirl.
So much. But yeah, I mean, it was great.
Get my fangirl soon.
I'm sure you will. Somebody who wants to see your wrestling videos. I'm sure. Be like,
I
baby,
swear
come
I think
over.
it's literally only like one.
Girl that wants to see it, or only one video?
Only one video,
Okay.
one match. Like I just want to see it one time, like one or two match, three. I think I only did like 3 matches. Like one was a battle royal, one was a tag team, another one was a one-on-one. The one-on-one I lost.
See, that's like the holy trinity. Is where you want to be.
I'm 2-1 in matches.
2-1, Better
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Better street than the Undertaker. Yeah. Oh man, I had so many. I promised Carl I was gonna cut down on the geriatric Undertaker jokes.
I was literally just looking at that picture the other day when I was trying to look for a picture for our Instagram. I literally came across the selfie. Everybody was against me at WrestleMania 32.
As we should have been.
And I said, listen, Undertaker pulls off. I'm taking selfies with everybody in celebration.
Yeah.
And you did.
And you
I
did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully the rest home will give him a day pass so he can show up for any other pay-per-view.
And I'm so sick and tired of the rumors that he's coming back. He's coming back. I swear to God, if
I don't
he dies,
I don't want him to come back.
No, who does? Nobody wants him to come back.
No.
No, literally nobody wants that. Even
I'd love to see him again. Don't get me wrong. Like I still want to meet. I've met so many wrestlers. I still want to meet them.
You could. I think you could. I don't know. He doesn't really do the circuit though.
Like he'll do like Access.
Yeah. He might.
One day, if I ever make it to WrestleMania, that'll probably be the only time I will meet him.
Yeah.
So it'll happen.
I think so too.
Hashtag goals.
That's one of them.
Yeah. So yes, let the right one in.
Do it, and I don't know about. I'd never watched the American bastardization of it. Isn't it like Let Me In? Isn't that?
Yeah, Let Me In.
So I can't even. Just don't even bother. Don't waste your time. You can get through the subtitles. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's just so good. And did you read the story that it's adapted from?
Oh no, I haven't.
So it's worth a whirl because it kind of fleshes the characters out more because I think like the movie takes some liberties in especially with Ely, like her gender is pretty ambiguous, but they kind of like give you maybe some insight into that. But in the story, it really fleshes that out, which is kind of interesting. So if you're interested in maybe learning more about the characters and their background, it does provide some good insight.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yep. And we got some more horror goodnesses. Yeah, we can't say The Shining because we don't want to get sued.
The Shining is I actually
Damn Simpsons.
It's like I love the book. I love the story. I love the movie just as much. I know Stephen King wasn't super on board with Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining, but I loved it.
Yeah, which is weird because The Shining it's an incredible movie.
It is, and I really don't think it takes that many liberties from the OG story. I mean, like, I love Stephen King. I love him so much. I don't think his movies that he has like a big part in are necessarily good. Like, they're kind of corny and cheesy. I don't know. I forget what like the main beef was between him and this. I think there was maybe some contention with casting. I don't know if he thought, that the right people were chosen for the parts, but I don't know. As a standalone, without like thinking about books and stories and all that nonsense, it's great.
Now, would that be the movie that like was what made Jack Nicholson's career?
Oh no, like
I'm sure like he's been in the game long before this, but it's the iconic scene, here's Johnny,
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that, because what if
then like he was the Joker like shortly after that.
like about 9 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because he's done so much, it's kind of like hard to say what I don't even really know what Jack Nicholson's breakout would have been.
Let's see. He did Chinatown
He did
in
do
'74.
Chinatown, but he was super young.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking is
75.
probably like the first. But this definitely, I mean, is like the most iconic image.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and also I heard that Stanley Kubrick actually drove Shelley Duvall to a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, he was like
throughout the shoot.
complete dick to her.
Yeah.
Like he was super mean to her and like didn't give her cues on the film. So when they were filming, he like genuinely like scared the shit out of her. Like there were certain things that she wasn't aware of happening, and I think he was just like really awful about like the way that she looked and was like super made like remarks about her appearance. Mm-hmm. She's like a really striking woman in that like her face is very recognizable. Like she has like a very distinct look, which I thought went with the movie. I think in the story, she's more classically like pretty, and in the movie, not so. I mean, she's cool as hell, but she's not like, you don't look at her and like objectify her in that particular way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was super into definitely making her feel like terrible. Like I think she had like long standing mental issues from being like working on this movie with him. That's like his way. I'm not like a big Kubrick head at all. Like I hate A Clockwork Orange.
Really?
I don't like it, Vic. I can't get into it. I hate the book. I hate the book so much. And but I'm not like one of those people that really needs to, like, I'm not like, oh, you know, like the book is so much better than the movie or whatever. Like I literally care less. Like to me, it's basically separate ideas. But yeah, I don't know. I watched the movie only once, so I'm not like giving a huge, like a very informed opinion on the film. And I definitely saw it. I remember it was like, I think my sophomore year of college. So it was late. Like I was a late bloomer, I think, because everyone at that time like loved Clockwork Orange. That was like their favorite shit. And I couldn't tell if people really liked it because they liked it, or if they say that they like it because it's so so popular. Like everyone. But I'm open to seeing it again and going into it with like, I don't know, if I have it reframed for me, I'll appreciate it more than I did at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say like watching the movie again would be worthwhile. I know that it is a little tough to sit through, especially like in the early segments with the whole like sexual assault scene.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what did it in for me. Yeah. It's like certain things I'm totally fine with watching in the context of like a horror movie. But that it's weird because like A Clockwork Orange, I don't think is like your typical like horror. Is it even like billed as such?
No, it's more like a dystopian type film.
Sure. Yeah. And like I feel so, not just as like a side bring it back, but like Handmaid's Tale, just got finished watching that, and to me that's like dystopian horror, legit, like super scary, super like fucked. And I really loved that. Like I loved it so much. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe I can give other, I don't know, movies, films in that genre or like idea mindset maybe another chance, because maybe I've kind of like evolved my opinion on this kind of stuff. But generally, no. And I don't know. Are you super into Kubrick?
I am actually.
Yeah, most film nerds are.
Yeah, I'm like
I love him.
Yeah, like my favorite film of Kubrick's is Barry Lyndon.
Yeah.
Which is on the Criterion Collection now, and it's like Barry Lyndon. It's one of the most gorgeous looking films I've ever seen. Like,
does he have every Criterion?
Oh no, not every one. No, I can't. That's like you're talking about like over 1,000 films.
Where do you keep them all? Do you have a separate room?
I have my shelf of Criterions is right over there.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, all the Criterions I have. Well, the first three shelves,
yes.
and like the one little one in the corner there on the fourth shelf. Yeah, with the box
sets. It in the video.
Yeah, that's where all my Criterions are, people. And I'm also getting a few more next month with November's Criterion sale at Barnes and Noble. I got four. I got four in mind.
Nice.
Yeah, and so yeah, I'll say that The Shining is a great one. I'll say that I haven't read the book, but I will check it out for sure. But did John
says so. First of all, Brandon says Tales from the Hood was good.
Yo, you know what? That came out on Blu-ray a couple weeks ago. I gotta get that movie in my collection.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm very surprised to hear you say that.
No, because I remember watching it when I was a kid. I barely remember it. So,
me too.
Like all I remember is like Clarence Williams was in it, and he was like the maestro of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember enjoying it, so I want that in my collection.
So then John says, Carl, when are you watching those Criterion choices? Victor read your book choice. And if you were watching, I did give a review of Dressed to Kill last week, so I still got to start Mulholland Drive.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to hear you review that.
Yes, I will pay good money to hear the Carl Bird summary of Mulholland Drive.
Listen, my Dressed to Kill summary was pretty good. So.
It was good. It was good.
I literally can't wait for that.
All right.
Oh my God, get on that. You have to. It's streaming.
Yo.
No,
yes.
I have it. No, I.
You got it in the queue. You're just waiting.
No,
for the right time?
I have his physical copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do plan on watching it hopefully sometime this week, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, yo, Mulholland Drive is not only my favorite David Lynch film, but it was my favorite film of 2001. And man, I can't wait.
That's so good.
Yes,
that's so good.
Yeah.
That's going to be better. The review is going to be even better.
And you will see the scene in Mulholland Drive. Oh, you'll know what I'm talking about. The scene.
Report back. David Lynch is not for. Have you seen other David Lynch movies?
Not that I know. Not that
Or
I know.
TV? No.
The Elephant Man.
I've heard the only. Well, does it reflect on like the original story of the elephant?
Yeah,
Man?
John. I forgot his name was.
I don't think I've seen
John
the movie,
Merrick.
but I learned. I read the story of the elephant man in like elementary school.
Oh yeah. The movie's based on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll check that out. Yeah. So, what are some other hard goodies that you've seen?
So,
Candyman.
oh, that's not here, but that's the VHS tape, the cover of it, that used to scare the shit out of me.
I am still
vault
scared
and
of Candyman to this day.
Oh.
Like I remember seeing the commercial for Candyman Farewell to the Flesh, and the announcers. First of all, the name sounds awful, and then
It's so
like,
good.
and just hearing like the announcer and the commercial saying Candyman Farewell to the Flesh. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Have you
As a
ever,
kid, I'm like, nope.
have you
Nope.
ever,
Watching bugs just sitting there on Tony Todd's face.
Yeah, I know.
That scared the shit. And then saying his name in the dark in the mirror 5 times. Yeah. I remember South Park did a spoof of that
Yeah.
for a Halloween episode where they was like, all right, Butters, you got to do it. Okay. Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls. And then Biggie appears. And then the whole episode went left turn. But yeah, Candyman used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I gotta see that again.
Yeah. Y'all remember? Well, another thing that used to scare the shit out of me. I never really watched like a full episode. I don't know if it was a movie and a TV show, but Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Crypt Keeper used to like. That was some creepy shit.
for sure. I
Like
mean,
just to laugh, I would like literally watch the laugh. I was a kid. I watched the laugh, get creeped out, and I'm like, all right, change the channel or turn on like Sega or something. Like
yeah,
that was a creepy thing. I remember they made a cartoon.
Yeah, they did actually.
that's right. That was.
Yeah.
I feel like that was short lived though.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was.
And I feel like they like maybe not a few years ago, but maybe like a handful of years ago, they'd like read.
Yeah, they were supposed to read. Yeah, it was supposed to like. It was supposed to be like a reboot. I don't know if it
I
really
think,
took off.
I think that they might have done it in just like a very limited capacity. I think from what I remember, because I really loved Tales from the Crypt as a kid, because I kind of love that like anthology type, like different stories, different characters, and the same people showing up. Because I really love the Twilight Zone
Yeah.
so much, and I think like as far as I don't know, like I feel like certain things have replay value, certain things don't. I feel like I can watch the same episode of the Twilight Zone that I've seen a million more times, and like not get sick of it. I feel like they're just so well done.
Like the old series.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like a lot of that stuff is so like, but genuinely scary. And the thing I love about Twilight Zone is I feel like there are certain episodes that everyone knows and everyone's like familiar with, and I kind of love that. Like, did you watch Twilight Zone? Are you familiar?
I've seen 2 of the most well known. One was the guy who breaks his glasses.
that's
I
the
have
one
time
that-
now.
yeah.
And the one where the gremlins on the wing of the airplane.
Yeah, the William Shatner one.
Yeah.
And then the other, so like those are the first 2 that I was thinking of, and then the third that I think is kind of one of the most popular is my dad used to call it the Pig People episode, where it's like this society, and it's actually kind of poignant, like from modern day, contemporary insight, but it's this place where. So it like opens up. This woman is like she's in the doctor's office. She's getting like some kind of plastic surgery done because she's like super ugly or she feels super ugly and like this whole thing. And you don't see what anyone else looks like. And you don't really even see what she looks like because her face is bandaged because she just had this procedure done so she could look normal, because like in this particular world, if you don't look normal, then you get like shipped off into this other place. Like a camp. And there's like a supreme leader, because I guess it's like America, but there's the supreme leader, and you don't really see him, you like hear him, and as the episode goes on, like you kind of see where it's going. Like there's something weird because we haven't seen her face, we haven't seen anyone's face, what's going to be like the catch. So they take her bandages off. Because the entire time, it's just, and her voice is, I forget the actress. But you really just hear, like, voices. Like, that's the acting. Mm-hmm. It's mainly voice acting. And then they take the bandages off. And you see her, and the doctor that's working on her is like, it didn't work. Like, it didn't take. What we did not work. And you're like, what the fuck? And she's gorgeous. So you're like, there's this beautiful woman. And everyone's, like, saying how, like, she's gross she is. And then you see everyone else has, like, these really deformed, fucked up faces. And then, like, the supreme leader who, like, hates this, like, you know, what we think of as traditionally beautiful people gets, like, carted off into some, like, weird other town or something. But the whole thing is, like, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like, if all these people are, like, I don't think they're supposed to be, like, pig people, but my dad always referred to them as such. So that kind of, like, idea of, you know, just we look at this person and we think of her as being, like, classically beautiful. And she, like, joins up with this other guy who tried to get the procedure done. It didn't work. And it's just, like, kind of, like, gnarly in a way, like, kind of, like, creepy and weird. And I just, like, I love that episode. I think that's the first one that I ever saw, because Sci-Fi used to do on New Year's Eve, and I think they still do, actually, the marathon, like the Twilight Zone marathon, where they just kind of, like, play the most popular episodes as voted on by viewers.
Okay.
And so I've seen that one a billion times, but just, like, kind of like horror, but with, like, a really good social commentary. And it gets wrapped up in a bow, usually at the end, like, they explain it to you. But I really like that as far as, like, the old stuff goes. I think it's, like, easily accessible now for kids or for people who want to get into it.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
My plug for the Twilight Zone. Watch it on New Year's Eve on Sci-Fi.
Cool. And I'm pretty sure it's available on, like, streaming.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch it, like, any episode, anytime
Nice.
on Netflix. Yeah, not
Awesome.
bad.
All right. And so that's a lot of horror right there. So any final recommendations or any?
I'm trying to think of maybe things that so I watched Hush recently, which is, like, a more I feel like it came out within the last couple years, and nobody in it is super notable. There's an actor, and I always forget his name, but he was in the newsroom.
Oh, is it Jeff Daniels?
It isn't Jeff Daniels. It was the, like, so if we think of, like, top tier in that show, and we go down.
Okay. So Jeff Daniels, is it Sam Waterston?
Nope, because he's pretty top tier. And this actor is also he does musicals as well.
Thank goodness for Wikipedia.
Yeah, are you looking up? So it ain't Jeff.
I am.
It's him.
John Gallagher Jr.?
Let me see his face. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So he's in it. I should know it because the movie was so good. But it takes place. This woman has no hearing, so she doesn't speak. The movie's obviously, like, super, super quiet, and she has, like, a home invader typically. And I love, like, home invasion movies. I love because I think they're really scary, but they also scare me because that's one of my, like, real fears. I think that, like, the things that scare me the most, like aliens and home invasion, I love to see those movies because they're very scary to me and very real. But this one was done in a really good way.
Home invasion? You might like Don't Breathe then.
So I like Don't Breathe. I thought that was good. I thought that the trailer was very different than what I saw in the theater. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
And I thought that it was, but it didn't, like, really bother me too much. It had that, like, weird, fucked up ending.
It did. I thought the ending was a little too preposterous.
I, like, did not
Kid
see
got his ass whooped, and he's still, like, he held on pretty strong.
for real. And I was not anticipating that. And I'm used to horror taking, like, a weird twist and turn but I don't know. It was preposterous is the perfect way to put it. But I did like the general idea. So Hush is similar, where, like, there's a sense that's missing, and, like, she couldn't hear, and somebody, John Gallagher Jr. is trying to get into her home. You never really know why he wants to kill people. Like, they never really say, and I also don't think it really matters. Like, he is just kind of like The Strangers, which I love. Like, people that
You
want to
like The Strangers?
Yeah, so much.
I was bored with that one.
See, I watched it with my brother and sister-in-law, and I think that she found it boring as well, but I think it's good. Like, I don't really need to be, like, beat over the head with
Like,
scares or gore.
But I was kind of expecting that, so I just sat there and watched it.
Because I avoid movies like that, like the Saws and Hostels of the world, and like the.
I saw the first 3 Saws.
Yeah.
Literally because, well, hey, let's go to the movies for my birthday.
Right, I know.
What's in theaters? Saw.
That's probably why I saw the first
Sure.
one too.
I watched like the first 3, and then after that, I was like, they just kind of.
Yeah, they get kind of like just.
I got sick of them.
Yeah, I think it's easy to, and like
Then I started doing the party, so.
But then I feel like that the Strangers and even Hush, it's that kind of like build up, and there's some gore kind of like peppered in, but it's not over the top. Like, and for me, those are the scariest situations, and what makes like a good horror movie for me, and not necessarily the only type that I like, but are the stories that seem like they could actually happen. Like, you could have somebody just come to your house and want to fuck with you and kill you. Like, why not? And like in The Strangers, there's no backstory. They just show up. And they just want to kill people for fun. And that's really scary because I feel like that's more realistic than, I mean, as much as I love like Carrie or The I mean, like that's home invasion type stuff is just so freaking scary because it could happen. And it sticks with you.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking too is that like, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I still love the Blair Witch Project so much.
No. No. You talk about like V8.
Yes,
VHS
I love it. You hated that movie when it came out? Everyone was scared of that movie.
I sure did. I hated it. Well, we watched it, and I watched it like on VHS at our friend's house. We're just sitting there, just watching it. I literally had to throw an inflatable chair at my friend just to like get some type of energy in the room. It was that bad.
I think it's so scary. To this day, like I think it's really scary.
I mean,
one thing I will say is like I got a little creeped out because I was staying with my father at the time. He was living in like suburban Maryland, and I know, and Blair Witch Project took place in Maryland, and where he lived was like the woods.
Yeah.
So you look out the window, it was just black, like pitch black. So I'm like, this bitch took place in Maryland. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going out there. Not until like.
See? And I think that is the like horror movies that stick with you. So you watch them and maybe you don't think they're scary at the time, but then like later on, you're like it stays with you. And I feel like that's kind of the mark of a good horror movie is the ones that stay with you, that get you thinking. Because I feel like Blair Witch, that's what it did to me. I mean, I thought it was wicked scary when I was watching it, but then afterward, I was like, oh man, I feel like genuinely creeped out and unnerved by that entire film.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, like, I haven't seen it in many years.
Yeah.
But,
I haven't seen it since then because I hated it so much.
But
I think you secretly loved it.
But
and the thing, what really hurt me is like, I was so amped up of seeing it. Like I was so interested.
It was a huge blockbuster.
Yeah,
like it did so well.
It did.
And because a lot of people were so curious to see it, and they're like, "Man, what the fuck is this?"
Well, the ending freaked me the hell out, though.
Totally.
The camera fell.
Oh my.
Well, come on. We're oversimplifying stuff, Carl.
The camera.
That's what it was.
But like the final scene with like the dude in the corner and knowing the story, it's so good. And you never see the witch; she's just there.
Yeah. And I heard that the remake is bullshit, though, from what I hear.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did.
It came out like last year.
Yeah, last year, Blair Witch.
That's ridiculous. No.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now I want to go back and watch the original Blair Witch again.
Do it.
I think I might. If I really, I'm like, sure, I guess.
Do it. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
I'll yell at you if I still hate it.
But I do have one final recommendation, and it is on Netflix.
Great.
Horror recommendation is called We Are Still Here.
Yes.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I did watch it.
Yes,
You already know I didn't.
Oh well, it's a really good movie. It takes place in 1979. It's about this old married couple. Their son died in a car accident, and so the husband and wife they go to this. They decide to move into this rural home in New England, and unfortunately, they hope for a change of scenery because the wife is still very depressed about their son passing. But then as the movie goes on, all I can say is fire and blood. Lots of fire, lots of blood, lots of ash. It's so good.
Are you into movies with ash, Carl?
It's so good.
Does that appeal to you at all?
It's
good stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. It's called We Are Still Here. It came out in 2015.
Yep.
Directed by Ted Gagan, and yeah, it's like the ending. Woo! I'll tell you. I mean, a lot. I mean, I haven't seen that much fire and blood in a long time. Not since I played Dark Souls 3, but yeah, it's a good one. Family friendly too. So if you have kids, you know, sit them down, tell them to watch We Are Still Here. Victor Omayo recommends it.
Oh Lord. I mean, we watched. I watched Don't Breathe at work with my clients. They actually fell asleep on it. So
Yeah. I can see that.
So yeah, don't
not the behavioral ones. Actually, one of them was.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, she's the one who fell asleep first. Though.
Yeah. By the way, don't tell your kids to watch We Are Still Here. He's still here.
do not.
Don't sue me. But it is a great movie. It's on Netflix. So yeah, tons of great horror stuff out there for the month of October.
So accessible.
Yep. And whatever your recommendations are for horror films, let us know at codexprimepodcast@gmail.com.
We are halfway through October, and I still haven't watched Hocus Pocus.
I haven't watched it yet either this season.
Yeah,
I haven't.
upset.
I mean, I
I'm
will.
upset with myself. You kind of just—it's one of those.
TMC is doing horror movies on Wednesday nights
Oh, okay.
from like starts. I think it's Wednesdays or Tuesdays. I suck at recapping.
Okay, I'm gonna
Well-
catch it though.
But yeah,
I'll definitely catch it.
you will
Somehow,
on
some
like
way.
ABC Family, which I think is something
Yeah.
different now.
Freeform.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a secret that I would like to confess here.
You have never seen Hocus Pocus.
I've never seen Hocus
Are you
Pocus.
holding out? Are you so you can be like one of those people that's like
A hipster.
I'm not
I've
as
seen Hocus Pocus. I've
it's-
never seen Lord of the Rings.
Nah, no, I actually never seen Lord of the Rings. But
Jesus Christ!
Thank you. And he's never seen the Harry Potter movies either.
You're one of those. See, I wait. I have a movie.
no, I never just had an interest.
But I
didn't.
I have one of those, but then I conceded. I never saw The Matrix until like 2 months ago. Never seen it. Can you imagine me of all people? But there's a story behind it. of why I never.
I have
did
a
it.
short story behind Harry Potter. That was my high school principal's
But I
name.
feel like, yeah, I don't know. But I finally saw it. Is the end to the story? Like I finally saw The Matrix.
I mean, I'm sure I'll eventually see those movies. And then, not to mention, have you seen Clerks 2?
Yes.
Oh, see, you need to get on board.
I've seen Clerks too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one haven't you seen then? Which Kevin Smith haven't you seen then?
Oh, I haven't seen his later ones like Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Haven't seen that one. Or Tusk.
That's a good. Don't see Tusk. Do not see it, Vic.
Is it bad?
It's so I like Red State. So
saw
like
that.
his diving into horror. Tusk is like super ridiculous. Like if you want to see something that's like incredibly ridiculous and just kind of like gross out, but just stupid, I think it would make an awesome comic or like graphic novel. I think that watching it. Like I saw it because I'd been on Netflix for so long. Like I would scroll through and I would just see Tusk. I was like, no, I
feel like
wanna support what
somebody
he
reviewed it
does.
on the show
Oh,
before.
Curtis Parvin of Splash Page Comics.
Did
He did.
Curtis like it? He
did like it. He
Yeah,
did
see?
recommend it.
And I feel like it's one of those movies how like I love the movie Cabin Fever. Like those kind of like kitschy, like stupid but really good. Like you have like a soft spot for them. Like I don't want to accuse your friend of liking that movie ironically, but I feel like if people enjoy Tusk, then maybe there's like a hint of that in it. But I mean, it's short. Like if you're curious to watch it, won't take up too much of your time.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, no, Tusk wouldn't be my number one Halloween recommendation. I would recommend Hocus Pocus first.
Oh, yeah.
You got to see it.
Yeah, like I just never got around to seeing it when I was a kid. Like, I mean, I know the Blu-ray is pretty cheap, so I'll probably pick it up at
Yeah,
some
it was
point.
dumb cheap. I literally saw it today. It was like $6.
It is, and don't go online and like look at reviews because I just looked up Hocus Pocus on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like 29%.
Ew.
But that doesn't make any sense. But
like a
House
cult.
House had like 98%, and that's why I watched it. And that movie, I hate myself for watching that.
Me too. Me too. House is an old. It's a 70s Japanese horror film on the Criterion Collection. That movie's dumb as fuck.
I know, it's so dumb. That's a movie that if you say you like that movie, you are just trying to sound interesting or intelligent because it is terrible. I don't understand what happened. I don't want to know what happened. Visually, I thought it was like whatever. Like I feel like it was kind of like a call to Suspiria, which did it better.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes anymore because of that. And I used to for a while, but 98%, 99%, fuck that. That is a joke.
It is.
Watch Hocus Pocus.
I will.
It's a fun 90. You got to, but you do have to like, especially like knowing how you're into how you have cosmopolitan taste. you have to go back and be that child of the 90s.
Okay.
Harris. He hates it when I say that. But you have to be that child of the 90s and just that's how you'll be able to enjoy it.
Okay, I can do that. Totally. That's no problem.
Yeah, just wear that lens.
Nice.
So let's get on to our question of the week.
Yeah.
Last week was, what was your favorite death scene in a movie? Whether it made you laugh or cry, just a scene that you like loved. Or you even cheered for that death. Like mine was Cleo from Set It Off. Oh, I just think she went out like a G. And Scarface. You had like 7 of them.
Oh, well, I had a Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Instagram, Afton said, "Kill Bill Volume 2, Bill's death."
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good one. That was the first one that came to mind.
Did you even say one? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't. But like, I'm curious to hear because that was like I feel like the death scenes in Kill Bill were so good.
They were.
Like that's like what came to me is the. Love it.
Let me see. John Aponic said, "I might have to go with Darth Vader. Beautiful score and his rescue of Luke and attempt at redemption. That was incredible and hasn't really had any significant deaths or emotional moments. Luckily, Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins takes a trophy. The meditative preparedness for death was simply beautiful. Not delicious as Victor would describe." And Jessica Concussion said, Phil Connor's death when he drives off the cliff with the groundhog. He might be okay. Well, no, probably not. Let me see. On Twitter, at AB_PMV88 said, "No Country for Old Men with any CO2 with the CO2 tank and Star Wars Gold Leader and the 2 guys behind him bit the dust. They came from behind." And I think he said something else too. I screenshotted it. Oh, and another one was Higher Learn and Deja, Tyra Banks' character. If that doesn't hit you.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see, please don't. All right. Nick Quattrini on Facebook said, "Hateful Eight had some good ones, but I think the Peggy Carter saga coming to a close had me pretty emotional in Captain America 2. I can't make it past when they meet again." Jennifer Green says, I'm gonna have to go all girly and say the Notebook ending." Quincy Thomas says, "Steven Seagal in Executive Decision, he finally took an L." Former host Maurice Cerullo said he posted the gif of Samuel Jackson getting eaten by the shark in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, that was a great one.
Eddie Ortiz said, "Damn, I forgot 300. He went out like a G." And Thomas Grace put the exploding ninja from what movie is that?
Oh, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Yeah, where that one dude is like.
Yeah. Oh, it's so yeah.
So this week I didn't really have one prepared, but I can.
So it's just death scene, or like favorite.
Yeah, your favorite death scene.
There's so many.
Yeah.
But like sad ones, like
sad ones. Even
like the
ones
My
that-
Girl death scene is so fucked up.
Oh my God, Thomas J.
Yeah,
And
like,
then the whole his
Beavis.
glasses. You couldn't see
You
without
forgot
his
his.
glasses.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's so bad, but so good.
Yeah, that's on the level of Mufasa and Ricky from Boys in the Hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God, they're like so good, but then just so devastating.
Actually, I did have one prepared. Question of the week: who is the most famous person you have ever met?
Most famous person I've ever met, Edward James Olmos. I met him at Emerson College when I was in grad school. You know? Yeah, just a brief brief hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Because he was a guest speaker that day.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Oh, well, maybe not the most. So I feel like I met a couple of famous people, but my on this day on Facebook is when I met Danny Trejo.
That must have been dope.
6 or 7. It was so dope. And it was cool because I was taller than he is. But,
What?
yeah, no, he's just super short, dude.
That's disappointing. Like, he always just looks like, on screen, he looks like he's just
he's
a badass with some type of height.
He's like pretty. No, oh my god, I have to show you the picture.
Danny Trejo, how short is he?
I mean, like I'm 5'5" on like a good day, and he was definitely shorter than me.
Really?
Like without question, I can bring it up.
Please do.
But yeah, he was super nice and so cool because I love him. I love everything he does.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
I'm telling
The
you.
dude looks like imposing, like he's 6 foot.
Yeah, that's that's screen tricks. That's movie magic because he.
I'll say.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I have another answer while you're looking. Of course, last year's Comic-Con, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Okay.
Of course.
Yep, that was definitely. He was the other last famous person I met. Him and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
So good.
Yep.
So he was on a platform. Don't be fooled by him looking taller than me because he was on like a stage that was like up and I was down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Such a nice guy though. Didn't even like charge me for a picture.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, and because I mean they were charging for pictures,
Wow.
but not me. No, we're just friends.
Most famous person I've ever met. There's actually like a long list.
Oh yeah.
See, I met Jesse Jackson when I was in 7th grade.
That's a good one. Wow.
Yeah, he like randomly came to my middle school to speak. Like I didn't even know about it until like
What middle
that
school?
day. Roger Williams.
Oh.
Let me see. There's Des Bryant. Des Bryant, DeMarcus Ware, Jason Witten. You know my experience of hanging out with the Dallas Cowboys. Let me see. Vince McMahon, Batista, The Miz, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, rest in peace. As you said, Jake the Snake.
Yep. Ricky Steamboat
from last year's Comic-Con. Bret Hart was like an awesome guy.
Oh, I'm so jealous of that one.
Yeah, I drove to New York to meet him.
Oh wow.
Vicky Guerrero. I met CM Punk. There's like no camera proof. He was like on his way to his signing. So CM Punk was surprisingly tall.
Yeah, he's like.
Yeah. Edge was real cool. Randy Orton. Shit ton of wrestlers.
Remember you said you met Mickey James once?
Oh, I was I was already in love with Mickey James, and she was like so nice that boom.
That's encouraging to hear. I'm not like a super fan of her, but I like that she was nice.
Yeah,
I always wonder.
There's a lot.
We met the Hardy Boys when we were in high
must have
school.
been cool.
It was really cool, and they were really, really nice. My sister like bumped us up. They were closing. Like it was at a car dealership in Rhode Island, and they were about to end it. And my sister started crying. She was super young at the time, and they like bumped us at the front of the line. So we met them, and they were really, really nice. I met Miley Cyrus when I was in actually the year after I graduated from college. So she might actually be the most famous person that I've met.
Oh wow.
I met her at Hasbro Children's Hospital. Wow. When in Hannah Montana garb, I was dropping off stuff for work, and she was there. Yeah. And it was like and we talked. It was one of like the most weird like interactions of my life. Because I had just graduated from college and I was like, we're having a really hard time. And like my roommate and I got really big into Hannah Montana, like our senior year of college, which seems like a weird thing to get into. Yeah. But like
very weird.
We really got into it. And to this day, I still love that show. So I met her, and I wasn't even like anticipating her because it wasn't really like publicized, like that she was going there and dressing up for kids. And I met her, and I was just like, you've helped me through like the hardest time in my life, and like literally had like some kind of emotional breakdown meeting Miley Cyrus, who was like so much younger than me at the time. So that was interesting. So she was probably the nicest person ever. So I can never say a bad word about her because of how nice she was. But yeah, so she must have been like my most famous and also most like embarrassing interaction that I've had with a famous person. Oh wow. Yeah. But I feel like throughout the years I've kind of like dabbled. I haven't really met any wrestlers other than the Hardys. Like I went to Mick Foley's stand up at the Comedy Connection.
I wish I would have went to that.
Yeah, but we didn't get to like meet him. Like we just saw him.
Yeah. Oh, Jay Farrow I met. Since you mentioned
that's cool.
Yeah, Jay Farrow is hilarious.
My goal is to meet Sinbad when I see him in a couple weeks. I'm like dying to. I will
go.
die happy.
You will love it.
We're seeing him at I think it's Foxwoods. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw him at Foxwoods last September, October.
I'm dying to meet him. Like I have to. Like I have to, or I'll be upset. That's the goal. Keep you updated, and whether or not we meet Sinbad.
Nice. Yeah, I remember watching his stand-up from 2009, Where You've Been.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
It's always good.
Dude still got it.
Yeah, he's so funny.
Yeah. Nice. So, that'll be on our social medias within a day or two. Vic, tell us where you can find us.
You can find us on all of our episodes on Facebook Live, followed by SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. And you can also find us on social media at Twitter and Facebook as well.
And Instagram.
Yeah, can't forget the gram, y'all.
Exactly.
Also, you can email us at codexprimepodcast@gmail.com.
Angela, it was a pleasure.
Oh,
yeah.
So happy to be back.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us once again, episode 94. We will do this again at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it won't take 2 years.
Yeah, no, I hope it doesn't take 2 years. And you'll be gone wrestling professionally or something.
Oh, no. I think my wrestling days are over. I would like to give it one more shot, but I think I'm done. I think I'm done.
Yeah. And also, real quick, big shout outs to a friend of the show, John Haponic, and Jessica Haponic. I'll be meeting them this weekend in Houston. They're celebrating their 1 year anniversary.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
some people don't make it that long.
That is true. Yeah. So yes, I'll be meeting our friend of the show / dear friend of mine from college / DC apologist, and
my
we'll get it
supervillain.
popping. Yep, the supervillain of the show. We will meet you. I'll meet you and Jessica very soon. So congratulations, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening to our show. We will catch you next week with episode 95. The journey continues.
We're on our way there. Jeez.
Yes, we are. So, that's all we got for tonight. Thank you so much. Peace out, nerds.
Bye. Go Celtics.
Okay.